That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here,
And Blue Dragon 5.
and welcome to the show where we wax poetic about the movies we see on a month to month basis. It's time to crack open our
Movie
movie
Memoirs!
memoirs. All right, Dragon. It is June 2021. How you feeling about this month overall?
Ah, it was a weird month. It was a little a little skimpy in the ketchup. There was kind of an odd theme with my ketchup.
Was
That
there?
kind of that kind of happened. It's kind of a dark theme. It was kind of an odd theme all the same. But yeah, it was got chock full of movies though for June.
All right, so yeah, let's jump right into it, Dragon. Let's get into the news.
Yes.
By the way, tell me if you want me to change that color.
Uh, I don't know if you want to go with like a little Luca green, but it doesn't really,
Luca
whatever.
green. All
Yeah,
right, we'll go for the Luca green. All right,
there we
how
go.
about that?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
All right. All right, so we're gonna start things off. We usually work our way from the bad news to the good news, or kind of the trailery news. So we're gonna start with oh my god, some breaking news that utterly this news broke a few hours ago, and it's really devastating to me. I'm devastated by a loss of one of the big directors. Richard Donner has passed today, folks, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like we don't have a lot of time to get into just how big of an impact he had. Obviously, the big thing is Superman, but a ton of other stuff that he did over the years. Dragon, what I respect about him is that he was a guy who kept his same sort of like high genre sensibilities through a bunch of different flavors of film.
Yeah, I mean, just to list them out, of course, you got the Superman very iconically, but even before that, you have stuff like The Omen, which was his big break. You have The Omen, you have Goonies, you got Scrooged, you got Lethal
Oh,
Weapon.
Goonies, Scrooge, are you kidding me? Those are both
I mean,
classics.
you could
Yeah,
rest your laurels in any of those movies. That's the
yeah,
thing. I mean, like
absolutely.
he directed all the Lethal Weapon movies, and also he produced. He was also a producer with his wife on a lot of stuff. And for example, not only the big feather in Donner's cap is that he's the man whose style and vision birthed the superhero film.
Oh,
Uh,
sure, sure.
because he believed in the spirit of those characters, and he also produced the X Men movie, which again kind of ushers in the Marvel universe in its early stage.
Mhm.
And ultimately, just it's idiotic. What happened to him in his career, and they removed him from Superman 2, just which tanked the franchise. I mean, Richard Donner is always like a humble, salt of the earth director. He's a gifted storyteller. I'm always
It's kind
charmed
of
by this.
funny how after Superman, he was like, you know what? I'm just going to create Lethal Weapon and have like an arguably even more consistent franchise.
Oh, for sure. I mean, those are four solid movies. Admittedly, four is not as good as the other three, but that's what I'm saying. You could pick any of those. It's not
But
bad at all.
Lethal Weapon 4 greater than Superman
Yeah,
Quest for Peace, I assume.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not bad at all. I'm just saying the
uh,
other three are like you could pick any of those three as like a favorite Lethal Weapon movie, and then you have four, which
sure,
is like
sure.
not as good, but it's a solid finish though. It's
Yeah.
like anyway. So yeah, it's like for example, like, I was always charmed by the friendship he had with Tom Mankiewicz, who basically was those two guys together were the heart of those Superman films. Like they came up with like all the personal bits, like all those like the Lois and Superman relationship, that like the whole Peter Pan flew with children Lois. That's a Tom Mankiewicz bit. That's just the sweetness of those two movies comes from them. Like Donner's like he's like Clark Kent meets Perry White. If you ever look at him, he's like salt of the earth like Perry White, but he looks like Clark Kent with those glasses. Yep, made us believe a man can fly. He saved Superman from being a cash-in. Because originally that movie was supposed to be a cash-in. It's pretty much like, hey, the '60s Batman show did well. Let's bring Superman to the big screen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, he'll absolutely be missed, obviously.
I want everyone who hasn't seen the Donner cut of Superman 2. I mean, we're in kind of the Snyder cut era. We don't have a Snyder cut. We don't have any of that. This is like a pre-internet sort of thing, folks. I want to shame very briefly HBO Max because it is gobsmackingly shameful
That they
that
don't
they
have the Donner cut on
I
there.
assume that they did, and I looked it up and they don't, and I'm livid about it. I really am. I'm already angry about the passing of Donner, and the fact that here's what makes it so bittersweet to me, Tiki, is that last month was the 40th anniversary of Superman 2, which
Hmm.
again famously, the Richard Donner cut, which is the proper version of Superman 2 and everything. And it even passes after a patriotic holiday such as the 4th of July, the Americana represented by Superman and everything. So just like it's the proper end to a story, and we knew the day was coming, but I'm just not happy about it at all. And this is like an insult to injury of like we're glorifying the Snyder cut, but the much far superior director's cut, not there.
Yeah, yeah.
So just I want everyone to seek that out. It's very worth watching. It's the proper Superman
I
thing.
really hope HBO Max just gets off their laurels and just decides to release it. That'd be great. It
It,
is like a surprise drop.
it would be fitting.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so next up, more cancellations.
Well, Tiki, there's another death we got to talk about.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ned Beatty. You're right. My bad.
Yes, Ned Beatty, another Superman actor, oddly enough.
Right, that is kind
Yeah,
of weird.
yeah, Ned Beatty. He is like I think definitively he is like the supporting actor. He's so good. He's got such range, such power. Just I mean, my God, the man has a storied career in the supporting field. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that's like I don't even like. He's one of those character actors where he pops up, you don't even really register that that it's him, just because he blends in so well, and just like he's kind of like one of those Barry style, like he's a generous scene partner. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. For me, every time I think of Ned Beatty, there are two roles that pop to mind. The original role, I mean, of course, pre Toy Story 3, the original role had always been Otis in Superman. Very famously, yes, Mr. Luthor. The
Sure,
dim-witted
sure, yeah.
sidekick. Like, of course, one of the most famous bits. Every time I think of Otis, I always think of they're making the map of California, and it's like look, there are all these Luthor towers and Luthor this, Luthor that, and then you have like little Tessmacher village, and you have like Otisburg, and it stops the action as he's monologuing to Superman. Otisburg. Yeah, it's a small place, like an Abbott Costello routine, practically. Otisburg. I'll erase it. it's just it's delightful, but it's so trippy. Ned Beatty he started his career very infamously with Deliverance, which is a good performance. Don't get me wrong, but very infamously in what happens to him in that movie.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And the way he just worked his way up through the years. You get Otis, you get have some fun roles like Dean Martin in not the singer Dean Martin, it's the dean of a college, which is hilarious. And Back to School, Rodney Dangerfield. It was a very large
Right,
check.
right. Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
movie.
That's a classic role for him, sure.
He's in the 1990 Captain America, as the friend of the president who are big Captain America fans in that
Well,
movie.
that's we all have our hits and our misses.
No, I'm just saying it's funny though. It's like he's the one that Cap steals the car from. So it's kind of like we gave him
I
something.
imagine he is probably one of the bright spots of that movie.
Yeah, and of course, I think towards the end we have the mayor in Rango, which is a very it's a
Of
very
course.
and of course I think probably his best role, Lotso, Hug and Bear in Toy Story
Yeah,
3, and
Lotso I
possibly
think is the one that he's gonna like go down in time for, I think.
it's that I think Lotso and definitively his best and most remembered role that is referenced lovingly in our favorite show in Better Call Saul. Arthur Jensen in Network, the famous where we go to the
Oh
HHN
yeah,
conference
of
room,
course,
which is
sure.
deliberately made to look like Network. Right? You have called upon the primal forces of nature, Mister Hamlin. That sort of. So that honestly that is probably his definitively his
Dragon, I
best
like
role
how
with
with
Sim.
Pixar we're getting more and more of these character actors where it's like there's one role that they're really known for in the Pixar sphere, and then there's also like a counterpart, like serious live action role as well, and they're both kind of
Exactly.
equally iconic.
I know, and I love that so much. I love that we have like you can count. There's too many for Tom Hanks, but yes, absolutely. It's just,
I mean, for me personally, I have George T. Scott in the mix for it's not Pixar, I know, but obviously you got George T. Scott, Patton, and then Percival McLeach, which is one
yeah.
of the most underrated Disney villains.
It
But
is. It is kind of the ultimate compliment that your career is just you're known by many generations by like so many roles. It's kind of wonderful. So in that way, he'll
totally,
never
totally.
die despite kind of reaching an end,
Jeremy
which he has. But
Irons.
yep, absolutely.
All right.
So
Anyways,
absolutely, Ned Beatty will be missed. Just does like the supporting actor, true, like like he's ingrained in cinema.
I would say he's like the Richard Jenkins of his day.
I think that is a very apt comparison. Sure, yes.
Cool, cool. All right, so on to deaths of TV shows, at least.
Yeah, NBC
We
getting
have
really heavy.
yeah, NBC cancels both Manifest and Good Girls. Now, I don't know much about Good Girls beyond what you've told me about it. Manifest, I've seen a couple episodes of it, and honestly, Dragon, I don't know if it's just the airplane theme, but I was getting major, like, lost flashbacks and not necessarily in a good way.
Mm.
I don't know, I just, like, the characters were just kind of bland. I kind of gave up after, like, 3 episodes.
So NBC is getting really heavy-handed with the old scythe of cancellation looming over these shows, which I'm not too pleased with because I like both of these shows. I love Good Girls though. Manifest kind of brought it on itself for reasons I'll get into later. It's just I assume NBC's been hurting amidst the pandemic and they've had to cut down shows because Good Girls does good numbers from what I understand. I don't understand why on earth they would cancel that show because here's the thing. Unfortunately, both of these shows, as well as they're performing on Netflix, because it doesn't go as fast as it does between the CW and Netflix. Like 2 weeks after the season wraps up, it's going to be on Netflix. But eventually, these shows end up on Netflix. And ever since the cancellation, Manifest was added to Netflix. It's been doing great numbers, and Good Girls is always. I think Good Girls has always been has been binged like crazy on Netflix, and sadly, Netflix refuses to pick either of these shows up, which again, beyond my comprehension.
Okay, I don't understand why Netflix wouldn't pick up Manifest in particular because, my God, I've seen that so much on the front page. It's
right.
Kind of, I sometimes just assume that it's a Netflix show.
And Tiki, trust me, when Good Girls, when they add the new season of Good Girls, like they did before, like with the previous season, it stays up there for quite a while on that little top 10 list. And here's the thing: I mean, right now this isn't really a news item, but just to kind of for point of comparison, there's something news related to June. Lucifer has been doing crazy numbers since it premiered in May on Netflix, because that was a famous saved from cancellation put on Netflix situation.
Sure, yeah.
And again, I think like that's going like the storied record numbers right now. It's like billions of views. Season 5 is getting.
Just please get Infinity Train, please.
I know that's what I'm saying. Let's get these shows. I mean,
on Netflix is kind of like the trailblazer in animation right now, anyways.
See, that's what I'm saying. But for some reason, Netflix just refuses to say yes to these shows, and there's an audience for them, clearly.
But I mean, they had such good success with Cobra Kai when they brought that over.
I know,
making new seasons.
They've been giving these shows great life, and everyone's been the better for it. Why not? Anyway,
all right.
So let's talk about a good move on Netflix's part, though. I'm sorry, I'm jumping forward ahead. Let's talk about something else, then we'll get to that.
Yeah, really quick. We got Claude in the comments. Hey, Claude, how you doing? He says Solar Opposites got renewed for a season 4. That's good. That's good.
I really wish they'd say when the Christmas special is going to be, but yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot there's a Christmas special.
I know. For our purposes, I was hoping to get confirmation on it, but I would not be in our wheelhouse of luck for that one. No.
Okay. He also says Zack Snyder is apparently working on a Norse mythology animated series on Netflix.
Snyder is getting so addicted to these Netflix spin-offs and all sorts of.
Well, you know what? Like, I feel like Army of the Dead was a big boon for him, and I feel like it really revitalized his career, like post Snyder cut. So more power to him, man. More power. I mean,
I'm glad they found something he's working with there. It feels like he's really, again, he's doing what he always does. He's doubling down on, I have all these plans of stuff I'm gonna do, and we've seen how that went before.
Yeah, he's also got like a bunch of spin-offs for Army of the Dead in the work.
And it just feels like when he's thinking about that before he's thinking about just the movie itself, that concerns me.
All right, really quick, Wayne Brady joins the voice cast of the Cuphead show as the villainous king. Oh my God,
I'd like Wayne Brady quite a great deal. I think
okay. Well, my big Wayne Brady pool is the episode of Chappelle's Show.
I know. I've seen the clip.
Not just the clip, Dragon. The whole episode is amazing. But so Chippendale Park Life, Dragon. Do you know anything about this?
Well, I know there was supposed to be like a Chippendale live action movie, but I don't know about this.
Yeah, I don't think this is it though, because I thought that I think that live action movie is Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, yeah, it's Rescue Rangers specifically, so I don't know what this is about at all.
Well, Claude, yeah, I am intrigued by this Chippendale Park Life. We might have to look into it. Also, when I say Park Life, just be prepared for me to make about a million blur Park Life quotes and references, and I'm sure Dragon's going to be very thrilled about that. Park Life. All right.
Anyway, so okay, so before because I just realized my segue is interrupted by something we should cover before it. Let's talk about some Dexter news that we got.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I assume it's just going to be maybe one or two scenes in kind of like the the Henry Morgan style of kind of like a voice in Dexter's head, but
Harry Morgan.
What?
It's Harry Morgan, not Henry Morgan.
I'm sorry, what?
It's Harry, not it's not
Harry. Okay, my bad. Yes, you're right. It's been a while, but John Lithgow,
the son Harrison,
John Lithgow, the Trinity Killer, back at least for a cameo in Dexter, the new reboot season. And Dragon, this reboot of Dexter is something that you and I are kind of like. I think it's honestly kind of become one of our pet things that we've been following because everything about it seems to be on track, right?
Yeah, I mean everything sounds like it's going to be it's kind of what we've been waiting for. This is a revival, revival more than reboot because essentially it's a continuation of it's a retroactive continuation saying we're going to try and distance ourselves from how it ended, but we can't really say it didn't happen.
Lumberjacks. The whole season is Lumberjacks.
At least it's going to start there, Tiki. I'm sure. Anyway, so the point is, everything sounds like it's lined. They got the original showrunner, hence the John Lithgow return. Basically his big point was the original showrunner that gave us all the great Dexter stuff was up to the Trinity Killer season. So he did that, and that was kind of his sign off. And the fact that we're bringing him back implies to me what we're doing. What I'd love them to do is there was an episode of Dexter. I can't remember if it was. I'm pretty sure it was in season 5. I don't know if we did any other times in the show. I can't remember offhand. But we brought his brother back. For an episode, basically getting him out of a funk. So I love imagine if the whole episode was Lithgow basically getting Dexter back into killing people.
Oh my god! Oh god, dude!
That's my hope is that maybe it's like an episode versus either that or we do it like Kingpin from Daredevil season 3 where he pops up a couple times as a cameo. Who knows? Like that'd be amazing. At least up to
either
the
way,
point where
just
we get
the
there.
fact that we're getting more Lithgow, just no matter how little it is, like Lithgow as the Trinity Killer is. Dragon, I mean, everyone puts Gus Fring up on a pedestal, and of course he deserves to be on that pedestal.
No, absolutely.
But I honestly think that Lithgow as the Trinity Killer is like, I think he's like the one season villain equivalent of Gus Fring. For like a villain who was only in one season of their respective show, I think he's like as iconic as Gus Fring.
Look, hands down, the Trinity Killer is the best killer Dexter ever went up against. Like then, secondly, the Ice Truck Killer. But there's again, the Trinity Killer was one of the strongest seasons Dexter ever did.
Yeah,
truly.
All right, Claude asked, we're gonna get to the Masters of the Universe trailer soon, Claude. But Dragon, did you see the horror show that was the Clifford trailer?
I did.
Scarier than Cats, in my opinion.
I don't know. Scary. Look, I mean, it was kind of wrong, but I don't know if it was like as off the walls as Cats.
With Cats, I kind of knew what I was getting into, though. Like,
I call BS at the magic
as weird as it is, at least kind of sticks to the aesthetic of the show. With this,
Okay, just so everyone's saying this, I want to get clarification from you. What exactly strikes you as sick and wrong in the trailer? What scares you in it?
I don't know, Dragon. It's the fact that I grew up with Clifford as a cartoon, and now suddenly he's hyper realistic.
Well, no, I agree with you from that. I remember the first look at Clifford was terrible. He looked like we just took a dog and we spray painted it red. When we did the comparison thing, it looked awful. And now that we've seen it in practice, it just seems really like this is a very bad idea. Whoever signed off on this should get
I don't even want to dwell on it. I'm probably I'm not going to subject myself to this movie unless it gets like really, unless it makes a lot of waves on the so bad it's good circuit, then I'll check it out.
In the trailer, I just call utter BS at the reason we gave Clifford size and origin, which just seems
why do you
wrong.
Have to do that? Why can't we just start the movie where
it's like, hey, the dumbest.
I've got my dog's name is Clifford and he's big.
See, See, it's just like the fact that it had to be like a magic tear that makes him big. It's stupid. Like, really, we're gonna do the Pokemon thing? It's a magic tear that saves us. It's the magic tear that
Yeah.
makes the doll grow. It's like, it's not right.
All right. Anyways,
All right, okay, so
so let's see more Netflix stuff. Dragon. Jerry
yes,
Seinfeld is popping up on Netflix. So this is very, very interesting to me, Dragon. This Pop Tart biopic. I'm intrigued.
yeah. So it's we have a title on it, by the way. It's called
Unfrosted.
Unfrosted. It's Unfrosted. Now, here's the interesting thing. This is what makes this really interesting. So, not only is it a biopic on the Pop Tart, Jerry Seinfeld apparently, from what I've heard, is directing, producing, and starring in it.
Oh shit! So it's like a B movie.
Well, I mean, he didn't direct B movie, but
That's fair.
what I'm saying, I mean, he had involved. I think he had involvement in the script and obviously the acting. But that's what I'm saying. You're right about something though, that he hasn't done a movie,
I'm
really
sure
starred
he
in a movie.
produced B movie.
Yeah, yeah, well, sure. Well, you're right about that. Here's the thing though, Tiki, is that you're right that he hasn't done anything on this level since B movie. He hasn't really
Uh-huh.
started. Jerry Seinfeld's not a movie guy. He's kind of he's retired
He's
into
very
like.
just. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's very much for the most part just still an old school like running the stand up circuit, right?
Yeah, he just he does the stand up.
Yeah.
He does comedians in cars. At least he did comedians in cars getting
Oh, right.
coffee, which
Comedians and
was
cards getting coffee. Sure, sure.
that. I mean, he had like he was on a season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's as much as he's really done because he's just kind of been able to retire early and drive gobs of Porsches and all sorts of cars and just kind of enjoy this kind of the stand up life because he has like 9 seasons worth of Seinfeld money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
this is all
I'm
great.
very
It sounds like a
intrigued by
passion
this.
project.
Just the premise of it just really feels like the kind of like wacky sort of biopic that you and I would get attached to.
Yeah, I mean, what really draws me to is the fact that it's very on brand for Jerry Seinfeld of all people, and the fact that he hasn't really done like a live action movie that he's starred in, and it's
Yeah,
the fact
no,
that
not at
he's
all.
yeah, it's the fact that again it's like on brand with the breakfast obsession of that he's had for over decades. It just fits like yeah, let's give him. I'm sure it's like an offhand kind of like a gag of an idea. It's like it does intrigue me, and I'm sure he has a fascination with maybe the Pop Tart, over the years. And it's like yeah, what if I just delve into it? What if I just kind of dug into it and just made like a full blown movie on? They're making biopics, why not?
All right. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Sign
Yeah.
me up. Okay, Dragon, the Masters of the Universe Revelations trailer. Man, I'm not a He-Man guy at all. Like I
Well,
am
nor am
really
I.
like I am as far from a He-Man guy as I could be, so I get nothing from this trailer. I
Like
see it and
nothing.
it's just kind of like CG noise.
Well, it's not. Well, it's not really CG. It's
I don't know. I'm still not impressed by it.
All right. Yeah, well, this is just for the reason I'm going to check this out. Kevin Smith has collaborated on this thing majorly, and just seeing him be able to get a TV project that's actually going to go this time, and the fact that it's it's on Netflix, it's a part one. It's definitely getting a part two, which they've broken down the series. It was a passion project. The animation I think looks good compared to what He-Man used to look like. Again, I know practically nothing about He-Man, so I'm going into this completely blind. I'm hoping that'll be okay. We'll see. It's only gonna be like 5 episodes for part one, so like, what's the harm in 5 episodes? It's got an A-list cast. Like we got Mark Hamill, we got Chris Wood, we got a whole bunch of great actors involved in this. It's Stephen Root. He's playing the Battle Cat.
Okay, Dragon, hold on.
What?
I totally messed this up. I thought we were talking about the live action He-Man.
No. What?
Okay, this
Did you
sounds
not type
awesome.
in the name?
This sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I eat my words. Yeah, Mark Hamill coming out of retirement to voice guy. No,
Yeah.
sign me up for this. Sign me up for this. This sounds amazing. I eat my words.
Okay, you're
I
not
totally
putting me
eat my
on.
words.
Okay, you're sure about this? Let me make
Yes.
sure. Okay,
Yes.
so Anyway, well, there are two
That was
trailers
dumb
up.
of me. That was dumb of me, Dragon. That
Okay,
was just
okay,
an
we'll take.
oversight on my part when it comes
Okay,
to the prep work.
okay, well, listen, there are two trailers. I suggest you check them out when you can afterwards, just to form an opinion on it. But yes, it's got an A-list cast, like a whole bunch of great. Again, it's pretty much kind of like the Jay and Silent Bob reboot effect of like he has like Kevin Smith's gotten a lot of people over the years. Even Kevin Conroy's going to pop up in this thing. So a lot of
Oh wow!
great, a lot of great talent are going to pop up in this He-Man show, and hopefully it'll be enough because they say it's going to be kind of a continuation for where the series left off. Yet, again, it's going to look a little more dazzling, get a little more violent because of the Netflix of it all. So it looks really impressive, but I'm hoping it's going to be digestible to the non-He-Man crowd. I'm hoping it's going to be a good, like, just kind of go into it blind. But we'll see. So I'm rooting for it big time.
So Claude mentions the Castlevania spinoff set in the French Revolution. Yeah, Claude, Castlevania is definitely a show where it's been on my radar for sure. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a super fan of the games, but I really appreciate the game's aesthetics. And I really need to check out the show because honestly, the French Revolution is one of my favorite historical subjects. And so I'm definitely interested in something like that. Sounds really intriguing. All right. Anyways.
All right. Now I'm going to hope you actually saw the trailer for this one.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
I just want to be sure this time.
I'm not a Sopranos guy, so I don't have that hard of an opinion on it, but it looks good. The Many Saints of Newark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks solid, Dragon. It looks really good. I don't think I'll have time to like catch up on the Sopranos before I see it.
Oh God, no! There's like 6 seasons or so of that. It's no
right,
time.
But I mean, I definitely intend on watching this just because I am like it's James Gandolfini's son, right?
Yeah, Michael Gandolfini is playing.
Yeah,
his
so that
role,
in itself intrigues me, Dragon. That casting it because he looks just like him. It looks just like a young Tony Soprano. It's striking.
Yeah, do you remember the date at the end of it? Because I don't know if it's November or not.
I don't remember.
Well, I'm saying you possibly might have time to binge The Sopranos. I don't think you need to because it's a prequel, so you don't really need to. So you're
right,
fine,
right,
so
yeah.
I'm just saying, maybe
I know the gist of The Sopranos. I know enough of it to be like, oh, look, it's Carmela, you know.
Yeah. So
it's Uncle Junior.
Yeah. So yes, this is kind of a personal one for me. I mean, this is anticipated for me, but more so my grandfather. My grandfather adored. He loves the mob stuff. He loves loves mob and political corruption. He loves that sort of storytelling. So
Dragon, you need to fucking check out True Detective with him, bro. Just saying. Oh my god.
That's the thing. I keep telling him some other great shows, but he's very stubborn. So that's the thing. I keep telling him, you got to watch Your Honor. You'd love Your Honor. You loved Cranston in the LBJ All the Way movie. You got to watch it. It's like every time it's like, so you watch that Your Honor yet? Nope. It's like, oh. Anyway.
Well, sounds like a certain someone.
Yep.
Right.
Anyway, but here's my point though. So yeah, this is the the director on this is the only thing kind of has me concerned about this remotely. Okay, so Alan Taylor is directing this. Do you recognize the name Alan Taylor at all?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
I'm going to tell you why. So Alan Taylor, on one hand, and the optimistic hand, beloved TV work. This guy, director in many of the great TV series, excellent director. He's done episodes of Sopranos, ergo why he's here. Mad Men. He did one of the best episodes of Mad Men ever in season 1, one of the all-time greats, as well as a couple others. And Game of Thrones, and I could list other shows, but those are kind of the 3 go-tos. His feature work, though, rather infamous with 2 movies.
Oh, God, tell me.
Thor: The Dark World.
Well, I think Thor: The Dark World gets too much shit, honestly.
Especially
with all the Loki stuff that we've been getting, yeah. I feel like they're kind of going out of their way to kind of make Thor: The Dark World fit in more with the MCU. I like Thor: The Dark World. That's the hot take of the night, folks.
You know me.
It's at the bottom of the MCU tier list, but I'll watch it any day over the Incredible Hulk, in my opinion.
See, that to me, I don't think that's right, but fine.
No, honestly, I think just because of the Loki stuff, if anything else, but for the Loki stuff.
See, regardless, Thor: Dark World, the only nick I really have against it is the villain that really hurts the movie structurally in many aspects. But you're right, there are a lot of redeeming bits in that movie, particularly Thor and Loki.
Yeah.
story. That side. Like, I love the Thor comedy. Like, he just hangs the hammer on like the little, like the little coat
Yeah.
hanger.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The movie has a lot of charm outside of
It's
that. And
probably
like,
just of the 3 Thor movies, sure, but I still think it's got a charm to
no,
it.
you're at Tiki. You are absolutely right. There is a lot of redeeming elements to Thor: The Dark World. I'm saying the consensus by a lot of people would be when you say Thor: The Dark World, it's like, oh no,
All right.
It's
I mean, that's fair, but like,
okay. Well, here's the one that's a little less defensible. You have Terminator Genesis.
well, that's definitely less defensible.
So
Oh,
you
God.
see my point again. Lauded for his TV work,
Oh.
and then you have kind of stuff like that
I
where
mean, I have not seen Terminator Genesis, and the reason why is that I was actually genuinely interested in it, and then it just got such an infamous reputation, and so
yeah.
no.
Okay. But yeah, so
I mean, like this guy, if he's a TV guy, The
yeah.
Sopranos is more of a TV universe. It's like you never know.
No, I agree. I'm saying there's more in the win
I got a
column
lot less
for it.
optimistic, but still.
Look, there's a lot. I think there's a lot more lauded career in the TV stuff, which actually had a guy who worked in The Sopranos. I'm sure it's going to be fine. But yeah. So what we saw in the trailer, we have Farmiga and John Bernthal playing Liv and Johnny Boy Soprano, which is great. When I heard Vera Farmiga cast as Liv Soprano, and Liv Soprano is kind of a big character in the show. Tony Soprano's mother, who had basically screwed him up as a kid.
Yeah.
Just the idea, like, oh my god, that's so up our alley, and that's just great. And seeing her in the roles briefly is like just what she always puts down her son.
I'm intrigued by this as someone who has like a passing interest in The Sopranos, but has never really taken the time to sit down and watch it. Like I said, I know of like the major beats of The Sopranos, so I think I'd be able to come into this and follow it just fine.
Well, let me tell you just one thing, okay? There's just one thing that's basically the whole crux of this movie, and it's like the only thing you really need to know about The Sopranos and know why this is important. So the structure of the movie, from what it seems, is that this is how Tony Soprano befriended his uncle, Dickie Moltisanti. Now, Dickie Moltisanti is Chris Moltisanti's father. And the idea is Chris Moltisanti is like the Jesse Pinkman, the Tony Soprano. He's the son that
I know who he is. Yeah,
exactly. So very much the son figure more than his own son.
That's interesting.
And again, like it's going to be kind of like a Bronx Tale sort of thing, where it's kind of we see like the era of the '60s and the '70s, where it's kind of the blacks versus the Italians in kind of Newark in this case. So we're kind of seeing the origins of stuff there. And the implication with this movie, there is a chance by implication, because this is called like the Many Saints of Newark, a Sopranos story. So that implies to me that if this goes over well, we might get other prequels in The Sopranos, which could be interesting. Yeah. I mean, think about The Sopranos, The Wire. These are the precursors to Breaking Bad, and I find it so interesting that now they're trying their hands at the Better Call Saul game, which is completely up our alley. We're doing the prequels too. So that'd be interesting. I'm rooting for this thing because this looks really good, and obviously I have the vested interest. So we'll see, man. This could be really cool.
Okay. All right. So that's it for news, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So let's get to the big main event. I think this might be a record for how quick we got through the news, Dragon. We're doing good. I'm sorry, not main event though. TV. Let's go through TV.
Yes, so we're gonna start off with Sweet Tooth.
Hey, Dragon, while you do that, I think I'm gonna go grab a coffee.
That's not funny.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so Sweet Tooth. This adapts. There's a comic writer by the name of Jeff Lemire. Good writer. This is the adaptation of his Vertigo comic called Sweet Tooth, and essentially it's a post-apocalyptic modern fantasy. Yeah, this is Robert Downey Jr. and his wife produced this. I believe their production company. They had hands in this, and the idea is this story's eerily timed by the time it was in production and everything. Because this is very much a pandemic story.
Okay, so now clear this up for me. Was the world already a fantasy world, or did the pandemic make it a fantasy world, or what?
Okay, let me tell you. It's very simple. Okay. So the idea is a virus hits. And I love the way we signify the virus in the show is that the big eerie symptom is your pinky will spasm, like your pinky's going to twitch.
Ooh,
and that's how you. And like when that happens, you've got it. That's how you know. And basically, so that the virus breaks out with that being the main symptom, and then there basically kind of happens like some viruses we're very scared of these days. And when that happened, at the same time, just from a random, here's the fantasy elements, random out of nowhere, no one knows exactly why. Every baby born is now a hybrid of is an animal hybrid.
Wow.
So the belief, and they said this is like these two things lead to the crumble of society and the paranoia that the babies, because they happened the exact day that the pandemic broke out, the hybrids correlate to the virus. So basically, these kids are now seen as very much a problem, and they're feared and everything. That's kind of your fantasy element.
Okay.
So 10 years later, basically the crux of the story is we followed this kid, our main kid, the Sweet Tooth, like he's nicknamed Sweet Tooth, Gus, who is half deer. He's this nice kid, half deer, and he can speak because all the other hybrids essentially are hunted because they're animals. And again, they're blamed for the pandemic unfairly. Because he can speak because he's raised by his father in the woods. He's played by Will Forte, who does an amazing job. Will Forte.
Ooh.
He is. It's a dramatic role for him. He's so good in this team. I love Will Forte as he's called Papa, like Papa, like Papa, but it's like with bees.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically, like things happen. Then it kind of turns to a lone wolf and cub story with his new friend, Big Man.
Okay.
And my overall just kind of take on is that this is an extremely well paced season of television. It's three stories that build to an intersect and kind of like an overlap it really well. It's got wonderful, compelling, it's very enthralling. You're on this journey rooting for this kid to accomplish his goal. You have you have Gus, you got the doctor who's trying to cure the virus, and you have this woman who's basically trying to protect the hybrid children. And basically, this is the next Stranger Things and how good this is, man. At least like season 1 of Stranger Things in terms of like people are loving this. It hasn't been officially picked up, but I'd be shocked if it didn't. Then again, Netflix has been turning down a lot of series. I'm gonna hope that they're not gonna not pick this up because this thing's too good not to explore. It does end on somewhat of a cliffhanger, but it is a wonderful series, Tiki. I cannot recommend this highly enough. I was skeptical going into a fantasy series. I don't know, and then I was watching like, oh my god, this is so compelling and so gripping. I'm hooked on episode 1. I gotta watch more of this. Yeah.
All right, so True Detective season 1. Dragon doesn't have any fantasy elements per se, but it absolutely has the element of like from episode 1, you're just gripped and it just gets more and more and more interesting as it goes along. Dragon, the two big pillars of this show, Matthew McConaughey, Woody Harrelson, and they both deliver the best performances of their career, in my opinion. The best work I have ever seen from either of them. They are both
really
just amazing. So the big hook of True Detective is, for me, the timeline of it all. And I think that's really what they're... I'll get more into that with season 3, because season 3, they really go balls to the walls with the timelines. They go kind of like a step beyond. But season 1, essentially we're cutting back and forth between the two main characters working the case in the past, and then in the present, about I would say maybe like 12 years later, something like that. No. Hold on. There's actually 3 timelines going on. There's one in the 90s, one in 2002, and then one in 2010s. And so we're cutting back and forth between all 3 of those timelines. But the one in the 2010s is both of the main characters, Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, being interviewed by detectives basically after they've worked the main case and kind of like going back over like old details. So Dragon, it works out in kind of like this kaleidoscope of storytelling, where we're getting details about the past based on details that we're picking up in the future. We're filling the gaps. Like the detective will ask McConaughey or Harrelson about something that happened, and they'll be kind of like vague about it, and we'll kind of pick it up like, ooh, what does that mean? Like for example, there's a big build up to McConaughey and Harrelson having like a falling out. Dragon, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a very, very, very grown-up and adult version of 13 Reasons Why, where it's like the compelling narrative hook of like the murder mystery and the whodunit and kind of like the different timelines, but it's actually done in a super compelling, super artful kind of way. where like I said, the real hook of this show really is the timelines of it all. Really is kind of the stuff in the past sort of affecting the stuff going on in the future and vice versa, and how all three timelines kind of like gel together. It's very Nolan-esque, Dragon. It's very Nolan-esque. Um and that's really the thing that sets it apart, because beyond that, it really is just kind of a buddy cop murder mystery. Woody Harrelson, McConaughey. It really, it's not a spoiler to say that it's about them kind of reconciling their differences, and they rub each other the wrong way about 90% of the time, but then they get on the same page, and they got each other's backs at the end of the day. I mean, it's typical buddy cop stuff, but the narrative around it is just so compelling. And so, Dragon, True Detective is like it's like my new obsession, Dragon. So I would highly recommend it. I will definitely watch Sweet Tooth for sure. I do want to check it out, but I would also I would implore you to watch True Detective. Claude, I have not seen Mysterious Benedict Society.
No. I have not seen it either. I remember I saw a trailer for it. I don't know if it hooked me enough to watch it.
All right, so Dragon, what's on your list?
Okay, this is another strong recommendation for you. I remember when this thing wrapped up, I asked if you gotten caught up on it, which I'm pretty sure is a no.
I believe I am only on season 1.
Yeah. I mean, did you finish season 1? Or you mean you're on season?
I think I finished season 1. I don't think I got very far into season 2.
Well, they're all really short. It's like 8, and then this last season is 6. So anyway, so this is the Kosminski Method season 3. My God, Tiki, I think this is a great Chuck Lorre show, and this is like the one to remember him for. It's that good. Like, this is like, if you can only have like one credit to his name. I know a lot of people are going to say The Big Bang Theory, but my God, this is like
Fuck The Big Bang Theory.
They always got to make it so aggressive. Why can't you just let it?
Because The Big Bang Theory is an aggressively bad show. I will hoist up Young Sheldon any day over The Big
Bang. You're right about. I'm saying Young Sheldon is superior to The Big Bang Theory, but beyond that, though, it's like why we gotta drag them down? Why can't we?
Because
just let
The Big Bang Theory is nerd blackface. Moving on.
It's not. Anyway, forgive my associates' narrow-minded views on matters. Anyway, so, yeah, this is absolutely the one they're going to remember him for. This is like this is like a legit quality show, and this is the end of the series. It didn't overstay its welcome, like something like Debate with The Big Bang Theory and such. This is this didn't overstay its welcome, and it had a point. That's basically what season 3 signifies. It's the arc of the Michael Douglas character, Sandy Kaminsky, who essentially is kind of our Gene Cousineau archetype. He's very Gene Cousineau-esque, leading the acting class and everything. This is basically
like if the Henry Winkler character from Barry had a show.
Exactly. That's exactly what this Kosminski Method is, yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So yeah, it's only 6 episodes. It's funny. It's heartfelt. We reintroduce. So Michael does a fun little meta thing where he has an ex-wife in this show, and the ex-wife is Kathleen Turner, who very famously has been paired up with in like *Romancing the Stone* and War of the Roses, the Rosses. So yeah, it's basically the series as a whole has always been about getting old and the wisdom. Is wisdom you incur later in life. And that's pretty much what this season is. And my God, Tiki, I'm just going to tease this up. The ending of this season, which basically is the ending of the series, is Chuck Lorre's crowning achievement. It really is. It's a stellar moment with Michael Douglas. It's like the perfect final note for the series. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it's like Chuck Lorre's masterpiece. Like, it doesn't have any BS like 2.5 Men had. It doesn't have a whole thing like 12 seasons. It's just very succinct. It's just very strong, and just a performance is very moving at the end. It's good stuff.
Totally believe you. Nice. Okay, True Detective season 3. Dragon, essentially what this does, of course, the main star here is Mahershala Ali. And oh my God, you see Mahershala Ali live a life, Dragon. You see him from the 80s through the 2010s. So it's a 40-year time span with this guy, and he's playing all of it. And the makeup is incredible, yes, but just the cadence, just the performance on him is like even more incredible. This absolutely, without a doubt, Mahershala Ali's best performance so far, I think, like without a doubt. I mean, I do know me. I've loved Mahershala Ali in pretty much everything he's done, but this is like another level for him, man. So the hook of this is it's very much in the same spirit of season 1. Now, just to clarify, I have not seen season 2. I am going to watch season 2, but I'm not holding my breath for anything, even though I like the cast. I've heard.
But each season has like a different setting or different era.
Each season has a different era. It has a different cast. It has a different crime.
Kind of like a Fargo thing, kind of.
It's like Fargo, except Fargo is way more connected. Like basically, the only thing so far that I've seen connected between season 3 and season 1 is that they have like a vague mention of the antagonist of season 1 in this. Like, oh, it was almost like that case from back in the day, like that kind of thing. So it is technically the same universe, but it's very much like you could watch season 3 and not watch season 1, and you really wouldn't get lost at all. It's very much standalone.
Gotcha.
Anyways, Dragon, another highlight I want to there's several highlights here. Stephen Dorff plays basically the Woody Harrelson character. And Dragon, I don't know much about this guy. He's been in a lot. I haven't really seen him, but he's great. Again, much like Mahershala Ali, you see him in that 40-year time span. So he goes from a young man to an old man. Scoot McNairy, Dragon.
Oh, I know this guy.
I was going to say, does that name ring a bell?
Yes, it does. BVS, for example.
Okay, so Scoot McNairy is he is like the wild card character of the season. So basically, he plays the father of the kids who go missing, which is like the main case of the season. And Dragon, he is like his character goes on like a range of like you don't know whether or not to be suspicious of him or to pity him or. I mean, there is such a wide, like, I think besides Mahershala Ali, he was easily the standout. And then also Ray Fisher.
Really?
Yeah. Ray Fisher plays Mahershala Ali's father when he's an old man. Son.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. Yeah. I was thinking, man, he's got range.
I know, right? Oh, God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a makeup job. Okay, so Dragon, very simply, the 3 timelines are in the 1980s. The case starts. The kids go missing, and it's kind of like everything that's involved in and kind of like wrapping up the case initially. 1990s, new evidence is introduced with the case, and we see kind of like a follow up. We see this is kind of where the lives of our main characters kind of start to spiral, and they really the case kind of becomes their lives. And then the 2010s, we see Mahershala Ali as an old man who's like barely hanging on to his memory. Ironically enough, Dragon, given how much we've talked about the father, this very much plays around with the father like storytelling when it comes to dementia and memory loss and stuff like that. In terms of he'll like him from the 1990s will walk into a room with his wife, and then he'll be in an empty room alone as him in the 2010s, stuff like that. And man, honestly, I think True Detective season 1 eclipses this just in terms of like the Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey dynamic is so good. And specifically McConaughey's arc in that season is just impeccable, Dragon. McConaughey has a final line at the end of season 1 that just gives me chills. It's such a good wrap up to his character. I would say this season 3 is even stronger storytelling though, because the 3 arcs that we have, and by the way, Mahershala Ali in the 2010s timeline being interviewed by a true crime documentary filmmaker. And he is that basically like reignites his interest in the case. He reads his wife's old book, which is a true crime book about the case, and it rejiggers old. So you see what I mean, Dragon, about this show? Like little pieces of stuff that happens in the future, like reignite stuff from the past, and the way that it's edited together is honestly like even better than season one, because season one they just kind of jump from timeline to timeline to timeline. But with this, it's very meticulous. With this, it feels much more like a Dunkirk structure, where it's like, okay, we've got this much time in the 1980s, this much time in the 1990s, this much time in the 2010s. Like, it's very, very focused in its storytelling, and it's incredible. It's gripping. Season 1 and season 3, Dragon, honestly, I'm just gonna say it. It lives up to the hype. It really does, and some of the best TV I have ever seen. I was blown away. I was really like, I've heard about True Detective for a long time. I honestly, the thing that got me into it was I actually read a creepypasta of all things. And I heard that it was based on True Detective. So I was like, oh, that creepypasta really got to me. Let me check out True Detective. And I was like, oh my God, rabbit hole. So, yes, Dragon, I very much am going to watch True Detective season 2. It's got Vince Vaughn, Rachel McAdams, Colin Farrell, got an all-star cast. I need to check it out. I'm not expecting it to be nearly as good as the other 2 seasons. I've honestly heard nothing but like disappointing things about it, but I still need to check it out just to kind of like complete my True Detective fix. But Dragon, I'm very much hoping for a season 4, because this show could go anywhere. Like, oh my God, it's groundbreaking television, man.
Well, right. I'm glad you liked it so much. That's good.
Yeah, if I could pick it as like the best of the month, I would. Like, it's easily the best thing I watched all month. But obviously, it's not a movie, so I can't really do that. But
exactly. All right, so I'm gonna take your season 3 and raise you another season 3.
You sunk my battleship.
Yep, I want the ear. All right. So, Manifest season 3.
Yeah. So you said that this kind of went off the rails a little bit, maybe like Lost.
Okay, so first of all, let me say this compared to Kosinski Method season 3, which I know is very different because that one knew it was the last season. Not so lucky in the ending department as Kosinski Method. Okay, so Manifest, this season a little on the decline because it's the idea that they were they're extending the mystery. I always got the impression, because based on the premise, which essentially
are you on the list, Dragon? Are you on the list?
Well, technically, it would be a manifest, so no. so that's my point. So these are the premise. Very simply, is people go on a plane that disappears, and they returns one day, and when they all come back, they realize, oh my God, we thought we were gone for 5 hours, like a 5-hour flight. That was 5 years.
Yeah.
Missing for 5. And anyway, so. Yeah, so this was
an interesting premise. I just, like, when I was watching the first 2 episodes, I was just like, this isn't really holding my interest as far as like a full-blown, like, several season, multiple hour narrative goes. I think it'd probably make a better movie, honestly.
Right. So, I mean, I'm just saying, based on the premise, I assume there's like a 5-year plan, and season 2 really sets up like, okay, there actually might, because they set up something in season 2 called expiration dates, as in, they kind of they're trying to examine the phenomenon that basically brought them back, and like how that works. And basically these expiration dates are the idea, if anyone got kind of an abridged version of the 5-year thing, then that means they're going to die after the 5 years pass. So that's like gives you like a whole, oh God, there's 5 seasons, that means all of our characters are goners in 5 years, which is an interesting thing. But unfortunately,
so that means anyone that was on the plane is going to die after 5 years?
Yeah, but it implies to me there was a 5-season plan based on that.
Okay, interesting.
So that's the thing. So what I'm saying is each season we get a new wrinkle that brings us closer to the truth. And this season, so that was always kind of the interesting thing with Manifest, but unfortunately they're really banking on them getting another season, and so they can keep playing it coy and just say, again, like, the seasons aren't long.
Yeah, again, reminds me of another show that involved a plane.
Sure. So my point is, like, this, however, if I recall, I mean, you can tell me otherwise, I mean, Lost, like, that's a full 20-episode season, right?
The first 3 seasons were 24 episodes apiece.
Okay, well then does it still go in the 20 range, or is it like under 20
No,
after
after
that?
that it becomes like 12 to 15
Okay.
or so. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess Manifest is probably more ladder lost just in terms of the structuring of the
Mhm.
story. Because basically, Manifest was like, I believe, 13, 13, and then maybe a little under. So that's what I'm saying. They
Yeah,
had
that
a.
sounds like ladder lost. Yeah.
There you go. So that's what I'm saying. So the idea is like the good news is Manifest was scaled down, so it was more digestible than shows that probably keep you waiting even longer. The
Yeah, but the
problem for
thing
me,
about the long seasons of Lost is they were the seasons when when the show was actually kind of focused.
it's so weird how that works, right?
I
Because you
know.
think it'd be more focused with
When
the
I say
short.
focused, I mean at the very least in terms of like each season had a really good standalone mystery. Each season developed the characters really well. The characters didn't really go off the rails at all. And then when we got to the last three seasons, they had a plan for how to end it, but it wasn't a good plan. It wasn't a good ending. And the characters, like a lot of the characters really got kind of like misused by the end. I don't know. Lost
Well,
is the whole thing, man.
Well, anyways, here's where the wheels came off this season. So we introduced this girl character who I liked in another show, The Americans. She was the daughter in The Americans. She's good, but not good in the show. She basically was like teeing up like the one of the new wrinkles of the mystery, which basically people are. They always have these, as you probably glimpsed in this for a couple episodes. Callings. You remember the callings at all?
No.
Okay, well, anyway. So they have these
Sorry.
callings, essentially are visions of things, are like cryptic visions of how they can help other passengers. They're all linked
Oh,
together.
yeah, right. Got it.
Well,
Got it.
they
I
nickname them
remember that. I
callings.
just didn't remember them being called the Callings. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they. I assume they call them that as early as the show. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's been a while. So anyway, so yeah, this girl kind of she's like we're teeing up big time. Like oh god, she's really seeing these visions and she's acting on. She kind of starts a movement, which is not good because that was the cool thing about the show. That it's kind of like a reverse leftovers and endgame effect of like what happens during that 5 year return and basically the aftermath of upon the return that we're kind of getting into now at the Disney Plus shows with Endgame, post Endgame is like yeah, the world changed quite a great deal. We have to adapt to that. So that's kind of what the series has been getting at. It's been, I don't know, season 3 may have pushed a little further than it should have with that. And it's the fact that again, we want concrete details, and season 3 kind of goes a little bit more. We're very science based in the first 2 seasons. Season 3 goes into the potential biblical explanation of it all.
Oh.
And it's not so much the biblical thing was a bad idea. It's the fact that we don't have any concrete like confirmation at the end. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Which again, if they're going to go that way, I mean, sure. I mean, it's like again, follow the leftovers. You can go that way, but we don't really.
Oh God, the leftovers leaned into that way hard, and it was
Yeah.
brilliant.
See, that's what I'm saying. They might have. TK really. That's the frustrating thing is Manifest
but
was
the
a good.
leftovers obviously like had that idea in mind from the jump.
Yeah, now I'm assuming that there is a plan with Manifest because right now they are hoping they're trying to do a movie so they can answer the question at the end. They're trying to do a movie and they try to get picked up. So right now they're trying to minimize the expectation, hopefully get a movie done to end the show and get it, so people know that we did have a plan here, folks. We just got cocky and we're hoping for 5 years. Because I think the first 2 seasons are good, TK. I think if you gave it a few more episodes, I think the first season might grab you. But again, no pressure. It's whatever. And I love the show because of Josh Dallas, who's from Once Upon a Time. I love Ben Stone, the Ben Stone character. He was my guy in that show.
Sure.
And it ends on it's a compelling cliffhanger. It makes you want to know what happens next because again, it's a big tease, like the whole assumedly biblical thing. And it's just I'm just hoping that we get a movie that ends things because it was like it's just a big tease. It's like really, we get right smack dab in the middle. This isn't like Bates Motel. We have an ending where we can fill in what happens afterwards. And we need an explanation here. So Manifest is frustrating, but again, it was not a bad show. I could have seen it going on so long as I had a point, which now we'll never know until that movie.
Oh God! So Dragon, you ready for more depressing murder mystery?
Always.
All right. So Mayor of Easttown.
It's like a horse thing, right? Because like mayor's like horse.
No, I don't know why she's named Mare. I think she's named Mare because it's a nickname for Mary Ann.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's it.
I was thinking like Nightmare, like the horse. Anyway, go on.
Okay, so this is a Kate Winslet-driven show. Dragon, I hate to say it, but like I really was higher on this show before watching True Detective. That's not the fault of this show because I feel like this show is much more character driven, whereas True Detective is much more narrative driven. So with this show, I'm just going to say I figured out the mystery pretty easily. I feel like it's one of those shows where like it keeps you guessing. Like they throw a bunch of curveballs, and it's supposed to be like, oh my god, like it kind of fell on this annoying pattern of like each episode sort of ends with like, oh my god, it's definitely that guy, and then the next episode will start out and the guy will have like a perfectly solid alibi. And so at the end of the day, by a process of elimination, I did kind of zero in. Like it was pretty predictable that way. It was way more predictable than either True Detective mystery for sure. But you know what? The character work is really good. I will give it that. And Evan Peters, Dragon, Evan Peters for you, I would say, is the reason to watch the show. He's a hotshot. He's kind of like the hotshot detective that gets brought in on the case. Kate Winslet's Mayor character. She is, she's kind of just a hard ass, it's like, I don't know how else to describe her. She, she's just kind of like, she's good at her job, but she's very much a ball buster. And then, who else appears on the show is, oh God, I don't know how to pronounce her first name. Aniqua Rice or something like that. She's the girl from, she's Betty Brant, Dragon.
You mean from the MCU?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, very famously from The Nice Guys. Yeah.
Yes, her.
Yeah,
her.
she's good. So is she good in this?
Yeah. Oh, she's really good. She's really good. She plays Mayor's daughter. She's one of the more sympathetic characters in the show. The grandmother is played by Jean Smart, and she's terrific.
Yeah, Jean Smart's
terrific.
I haven't watched the show. Kevin Smith he's raving about it. The Hack on HBO Max.
I want to watch it. Yeah,
it's like the second coming. The way he's been selling, he's saying it's really good. That Jean Smart should get all the Emmys for it. I mean, maybe he's right. I don't know. I mean, Jean Smart's great, man. I loved her in Watchmen.
Jean Smart was terrific in this too. She plays Mayor's mother, and they just have such a great sort of like cantankerous, bitter but ultimately loving relationship. And it's Dragon, a lot of the season is very much focused on Mayor recovering from the death of her son, which happened a few years before the show started. And I don't want to give much away, but I will say that it's very meditative. I feel like honestly how many twists they throw into the murder mystery is like after watching how well that stuff was handled in True Detective, I think the twists were like not really that needed, just because I feel like the real impact of the show is in the characters, and I feel like you could have focused less on the characters and focused more on, less on the mystery and focused more on the characters. But Dragon, Evan Peters and Mayor have a great dynamic with each other. Something happens to Evan Peters, and I'm not going to give away what it is, but it's pretty damn shocking. That's all I'll say. And ultimately, it's a really good story. It's what I like about it, Dragon. I think its best strength is that with the character work's really good for sure. But I feel like its best strength is a mystery. Is that it really nails the small town paranoia. Because I guess the one thing that all the twists do well is that it does legitimately make you kind of raise an eyebrow at pretty much every character in the show. And it also, concurrently, it also makes you see why every character in the show would be suspicious of everyone else. So in that regard, it's a good mystery. It's definitely not up there with True Detective as far as mysteries go.
This reminds me a lot of a show. I mean, I don't think you've watched it. It's something that's really up you should really look into. I think now it's available for streaming. I can't name the network offhand at this second, but it's called Grace Point. It's based on a BBC show called Broadchurch, and the great connecting thing is that David Tennant has the same starring role in both shows.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
Anna Gunn's in the American one. So Anna Gunn it's him and Anna Gunn as like the pair that are basically investigating this murder in a small town, and you don't know who committed and it's kind of everyone's a sudden. Michael Pena's in it too. He's really good. I think
Michael Pena's going to pop up later.
Ooh. So as I'm saying to you, I really recommend you check out Grace Point.
Cool.
Should look into that. All right.
Okay, Working Moms, Dragon.
Yes, season 5. So I've always loved this show, man. It's a Canadian show. It kind of airs funky because of that, because I think it like airs individually somehow in Canada, then eventually it comes to the States, like just kind of as like a binge season. So I don't know how that works, but I like it regardless. So this is Catherine Reitman's show. It's kind of it's sort of like an autobiographical basis. Like a lot of the stuff, mainly in season 1, was based. Like there's a lot of stuff pulled from her life. It's very much kind of based on her experiences. And the theme of the show is you have like 3 or so, sometimes 4, but they've kind of ushered out like the one mom who's in this season. Like she's in the seasons, but like I think we've acknowledged like we don't like this character. It's like Jenny, and she's not a good character. She's a very bad person. If you look at the show, and I hope it's kind of acknowledged. So it's kind of like it's the younger generation.
It's funny because Weeds did something like that with one of their characters about midway through their run. It's like all the characters just kept shit talking her more and more until ultimately we just wrote her out in a really humiliating way.
Exactly. Yeah, it sounds about right. So the point being, you have 3 main moms, and they're great characters, all very diverse. You have Catherine Reitman.
It was also a trio of suburban moms, so there you go.
Yeah, and these are basically the ideas. These are moms who are also trying to be like career women as well. So you have it's Catherine Reitman plays Kate Foss. Like she's in, she does a PR firm. She has a friend who's a psychiatrist. That's Anne. You have Frankie, who's basically this. She's in real estate. She sells houses and stuff, very privately, private firm sort of thing. Anyway, so I've always loved this show. And season 5, continues to be good. Continues to mark the quality. This season's dealing with, Anne moves away, moves to I think like Texas or someplace, something along those lines.
That's trippy because in the later seasons of Weed, Nancy moves to Mexico. So this is sounding more and more like Weed's Dragon.
God. So here's the thing. I'm pretty sure it's Texas. I don't know which part of Texas. That's the thing, but it's like the husband dresses up like a cowboy, and when he shows up for work, because he thinks everyone dresses that way, and the husband's really imagine the husband as the successful version of what Jerry could be. That's kind of what it is. What if Jerry were on Rick and Morty? Yeah. If Jerry on Rick and Morty were likable and a good character, that would be
like if he had the same basic attitude and demeanor, but just made it work for himself.
Like, what if he were goofy and pretty much looks like Jerry, but what if he were a really nice guy? Who actually cared about his family and stuff, but he was very much like a weakling, like Jerry. But there were anyway. So the point being, so you have that going on, and basically there's sort of a riff in the old friendship. And we kind of subvert that, where you think, okay, well, that's where we're going to be. We're going to have to deal with Anne this season. We're going to subvert that. She wants to be with her buddy. And then we have basically the whole season kind of filtered through Kate. And Kate basically wants to, she has a big choice this season. It's, your rising success, but at the cost of your friendship, as in your success is going to be at the cost of your friends, because you're kind of dealing with them personally. Like she has a book deal with her friend Anne, and Frankie she accidentally plagiarized an idea from her daughter. It was like she basically drew like a little picture of like a rat girl for like a children's book that basically Kate's trying to doing PR for. And basically on the flies comes up with like a pitch for the kids, a rat girl, and they're all like, "Yeah, we love rat girl." Like now, oh god, I have to steal an idea from a child. Mm-hmm. So it's anyway. So it's always had like a balance of comedy. It has legit pathos filled moments. And I really like these mom characters. It's got a lot going for it. It's and of course you have again Jenny, who you shouldn't be on the show anymore, but we're just kind of stuck with her. So we have like that going on too. That's kind of in the season. Oh yeah, Jenny's still in the show. Just getting me too this season somehow. So okay. Oh, God. But it's a high mark of quality. This show has not lost a step, so that's good.
Cool. All right, so Dragon, I needed some decompression after all that true crime, man. I really did.
So you watched The Nanny.
Yeah, that would have been fun. I watched a wacky game show called The Moment of Truth.
I love how it has such a self-important name. It's The Moment of Truth. The Moment of Truth.
Okay, so Dragon, this is a show that ruins relationships. Ooh. Genuinely.
Okay.
The host is Mark Wahlberg, but not the Mark Wahlberg you're thinking of.
Wait, really?
Yes, I swear to God.
Mark Wahlberg,
His
but
name is
not
Mark Wahlberg,
not Marky Mark.
but it's not Marky Mark. It's so, I think it's like spelled. I think the only difference in the spelling is that the Marky Mark Wahlberg has an H after the W, and this guy doesn't.
Oh,
It's so weird.
it must be. You know what it must be? He must be
What?
a variant.
Oh God! Oh God! Okay, so basically, Dragon, the contestants in the show, they get asked a series of questions hooked up to a lie detector.
Oh.
And they have to answer 20 of them on stage, and they have to answer them based on how they think the polygraph, how they answered them on the polygraph.
I saw some prototype. I don't know if I've seen like some variation of this show, this concept once.
And if they answer truthfully, they move on. But
Yeah.
if the polygraph says that they're lying, they lose everything.
Oh.
So there's no lifelines, Dragon. There's no lifelines. It's
Well,
just
of course, there's no lifelines. It's a liar detector. How do you get lifelines?
Well, I'm just saying in the format of the game, like it's like you either stay with the money you have, or you go on to the next question. And if you blow it, and you lose everything. There's no plateaus. Dragon, all I can say is that this show gets wild. It starts with like silly stuff like, oh, you're a hairdresser. Do you ever lie to your customers and say that you like their haircut when you really don't, and stuff like that? And then it builds to like, were you ever fired from stealing money from your place of employment? And then it builds to, do you think you were in love with someone else on the day of your wedding?
Oh, that's okay. Now that's where they're crossing some lines.
Dragon, it's juicy. It is juicy. I feel like every episode is meant to destroy a relationship with a different family member. So one, it's like this poor girl and her mother, and it's just like, are you happy that you live far away from your mother?
See, this reminds me of that. Remember that really cynical, really dark reality show I told you about from The Comedian with Robert De Niro?
Yes.
This kind of reminds me of that. It's sort of like the more psychological version of that.
Okay, Dragon, I'm only going to describe one more scenario to you to sell you on this because it's such a crazy fucking scenario.
Okay.
So the same episode where it was like, do you think you were in love with someone else on the day of your wedding? So the guy, her husband, he's a guy named Frank, Dragon.
Yeah.
And Frank's an easygoing guy, he's an easygoing guy, when the episode first starts, he's loving it, he loves being on TV, he's making some money, and then Mark Wahlberg says, all right, this next question isn't going to be asked by me. And then we have another guy walk out on stage, Dragon. Another guy. This question is going to be asked by your ex-boyfriend, Frank. So she has her husband is named Frank, and her ex-boyfriend is named Frank.
Oh.
And Frank straight up asks her, "Would you, if I wanted to get back together with you, would you leave your husband, Frank?"
Oh boy.
Dragon, I don't know if you're into that kind of shit, this show is delicious. This show is total like popcorn entertainment.
God.
And that's all I'll tell you about it. It worked for me.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
All right. Love, Death, and Robots.
That was supposed to be a decompression from True Detective.
Right. All right, let me hit you with a Netflix show. This is a Love, Death, and Robots Volume 2. And I talked about the first volume before. Essentially, this is like an animated anthology sci-fi series of shorts. I know Tim Miller's involved. Like, he did a lot, at least the CG ones. Like, in the first season, there was a little more of a blend of different animation styles. These are still very animation styles, but they're all CG, if I recall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, yeah, I believe, like, the Blur Stews is heavily involved in this, is my point. Anyway, so Again, this is it's very Black Mirror-esque, dealing with the namesake, either love, death, and robots all at once, or just kind of a variation of
Kind of
one
seems
or
like Black Mirror mixed with Animatrix.
yeah. Honestly, that's the best comparison to you. That
Uh-huh.
that sounds about right. Sometimes it's a mix of all three. Sometimes they kind of dive into one. So this one was about like either 8 or 10 shorts. I mean, it was some. I think like this way. I think it was more consistent than the first season. The first season again was the inaugural kind of half, and just kind of threw a whole bunch of different kind of styles at you. And this season, at least, it felt a little bit more. There was a little more of a story going on versus like, look what we can do in animation, which is
Uh-huh.
what the
Uh-huh.
first season's about. And I think
Right.
there were more hits than there were misses this time around. I got to be honest. Like a few, I'm just gonna throw a couple out. Pop Squad. Pop Squad is tackling the issue of overpopulation. It's sort of like a Blade Runner future. It's where like we can't have any more children, so now you have like women hiding the fact that they've had children, so they don't have to have their babies executed. Gets really dark. So you have Pop Squad, which is a really good one. Then there's a Christmas one that's twisted. The Christmas one you'd love. Okay, this is I won't spoil exactly what it's called. All Through the House. Okay, this is a really interesting yet twisted take on Santa Claus in a very
Ooh.
sci-fi way. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I really think you should check
Is
out
it
that
something
one.
we could cover for Christmas in July?
I mean, we haven't started yet, so I guess technically,
Yeah, I
think
know.
you should.
So if you
I mean,
want to
look.
stick at Supernatural or something.
Well, okay, we're not going to switch Supernatural for this, though. I mean, put it
That's
that
the
way.
one I want to switch out.
Okay, look, just look into it regardless. I think
All
you're going to
right.
get a kick out of it. All right,
All right.
so they have like something like the tall grass is another one I think could be absolutely up your alley too. It's kind of like when you pull over, like the guy on a train pulls over and like there's like a light coming out of like this giant tall field of grass, and that what's in that light.
Ooh, that already sells me.
I know that's what I'm saying, Tiki. This one, the
Yeah.
tall grass is made for you. Trust me, the tall grass is absolutely one that
Mm-hmm.
you like. And that's what I'm saying. Not all of them are winners, but more hits than misses. Again, it's a lot more story centric, and it's more about the human reaction to the sci-fi premise. Which the first season was more here's the sci-fi premise, and this is very much more the human reaction to it, which is really strong. So yeah, volume two was probably an improvement. So it was good stuff.
Cool. All right. So, Dragon, this is the true decompression. All right, this is the true decompression. So I watched a 3-hour video essay about Fred, basically kind of like the rise and fall, what they were trying to do with the character, kind of some of the hidden motifs and themes.
Now, I'm sorry. I just want to clarify. If I recall, Fred is like from iCarly. If I recall,
Hey, it's Fred.
The high pitched, like, weird kid, right? Okay, I just want to be sure I'm on the same page.
Yes.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
But Dragon, Fred, I don't know if you know this, but Fred got his start on YouTube.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah, like he was one of like the very, very first. He was the first YouTube channel to get 1 million subscribers. He was like one of the very first YouTube brands, essentially.
I see.
So, Dragon, Fred the Show is a Nickelodeon show.
I'm aware of that.
Dragon, I'm not going to lie. You're going to be shocked here. You're going to be shocked. It's not intelligent or anything, obviously.
Get out.
I enjoyed my time with this.
Oh, boy.
Dragon, it's wacky fun. I think it's better than the YouTube stuff. I think the characters are actually genuinely well developed. I think Fred and the bully character, Kevin, have a really interesting dynamic with each other.
Does he call him Dork every episode?
No, it's a much better character than that, Kevin. Honestly, Dragon, like this Nickelodeon humor is kind of like, it very much reminded me of something like the Amanda Show. It's just goofy and fun and non sequitur, and there's a lot of fourth wall breaking in it. I don't know, like it's not high art by any means, but I quite enjoyed it. The only reason I watched it is because I watched like Quentin reviews. A big chunk of their video essay was about the show, so I kind of got an interest in it. And like I said, I was looking for kind of a decompression from True Detective. But no, man, it's great. Well, actually, I'm sorry. This was a decompression from Mayor of Easttown.
Yes.
And then Moment of Truth was kind of a decompression from True Detective.
Right.
But for a this is like maybe one of the better like non-Drake and Josh, non-iCarly Nickelodeon sitcoms that I have seen. And I haven't seen a lot of them, but this is one of the better ones.
I just want to say parenthetically, just every time I think of the Amanda Show, which I'm just so nostalgic for, I always think of, but Tony, it's the Al Dente brothers. I love those Tony Pajamas sketches so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. All right. So let me tell you about The Good Doctor season 4. So ABC, man, they continue.
Is Daniel Day Kim still an asshole?
Oh no, they got rid of him like after season 2.
Oh really? That's funny.
I don't know if it was ever since the first. He's still producing it. I don't know if he came on too and just stuck around, but yeah, that was the problem too. Yeah,
did they kill him off or?
No, they didn't kill him off. They just they kind of got rid of him.
Okay.
That's like every season they kind of get rid of characters and they bring in new characters every season, which is kind of interesting. It was
that's pretty hard for the polls with medical shows.
Yeah, but something like I haven't seen for a while. Like I haven't seen something as regular as that since like Boston Legal, where it's like like every season, once you get used to these characters, well, now they're gone. Right, so so that's what I'm saying to you. The Good Doctor and the show like The Rookie, these are the procedures. This is the way you do a procedural, man. Like they're impressing me. Like all get on. ABC knows what they're doing with the procedural these days, and both of these shows have not lost a step as they've gone on. Like the Good Doctor still as good as it was with the premiere. Speaking of the premiere, I remember geeking out to you on the night the season 4 premiere happened for Good Doctor, and like they tackled the virus so effectively because they had to. And what they did is after like the 2-parter, they kind of like basically kind of fast forward to okay, so now that that's done, thankfully, everything is, which now we're kind of there, not all the way there, but we're getting there. And so it's not through the whole season, but a very effective, very grounded kind of opening for the season. Season 4, Sean Murphy. He's growing up big time this season. He has to train new residents. Just showing by season 4, he's been on the job for a while, so now he's training the new first year residents. Has some big progression relationship wise with Leah, and the one thing I want to highlight. There's a standout episode for me, man. It took me back to Boston Legal big time in a really good way, where it was they had a guest star who was from Boston Legal. It's Christian Clemenson, who played Jerry, who was basically James Spader's friend in Boston Legal. I love that character. I love that relationship. My point is, that character in Boston Legal, I don't know if the actor has in real life or not. I'm not sure. I don't know how well it holds up necessarily, but that character in Boston Legal was dealing with the revelation that he had autism and Tourette's. Now, and again, it was like a really sweet dynamic. Alan Shore helped him through that process of kind of the realization and how he kind of dealt with that. Anyway, so he had a guest star in this season, and he played a doctor also who was brilliant, but in absolute denial of his autism. And he was confronted with Sean Murphy with this fact, and how it was just a really great scene between two really good actors, and just that whole episode that whole plot line was just really good. So I mean, Good Doctor yet again. I highly recommend it, man. Highmore just doing some of his best work. No Norman Bates in my opinion, but it's still some of his best work.
Cool.
Also, we need visual.
Okay. I don't know why that just gets lost sometimes, but it does. All right.
Okay. All right, what do you got?
Oh, wait. That's it for me.
Yeah. So we have something that you've seen, though. So, okay, DuckTales Season 3. So I finally watched this. DuckTales Season 3, it's a jam-packed final season. We bring in a whole bunch of kind of familiar faces from the tomes of Disney. We have Goofy, for example, as a brief
I wish
spot.
Goofy had a little bit more to do, but I loved what we saw of him.
I just love that we got him.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a nice throwback. That was the throwback episode. Like it was the Goof Troop era Goofy, who apparently still he just is the Goof Troop Goofy, so that's kind of funny.
Right.
My favorite thing in the season is that we did Daisy. I love that we finally got Daisy in the show. That was awesome. Yeah, we got some more Darkwing Duck, which I'm a big fan of, getting that. Honestly, I love this whole kind of reimagining of Darkwing Duck. That's pretty interesting. I really wanted to do a spin-off. Come on, Disney Plus, do it. Roll the dice.
Surprised that hasn't been announced already.
I know, given everything else they've been, especially this whole Chippendale, park thing, Park Life.
Park Life.
God. Anyway, so the Foul Runner was really impressive to me, how they kind of laid that out for the season. This Bradford character is the big bad under Scrooge's nose the whole time, and I love like the whole flashback episode,
I
how it ties
love
into the
Bradford,
finale.
man. Bradford was the thing that made the season for me.
Yeah, he was really good, and I liked his I loved his motivation. The whole the whole like he's trying to kind of put an end to adventuring. That
Uh-huh.
idea is in
Uh-huh.
contrast to Scrooge, and I just love that. Given that's their last season, like he wants to outlaw adventuring essentially or retire it, and in doing so, he would retire the show entirely, which is a really clever idea for your finale. Like, yeah, he wants to put an end to it all. Ergo, we're at the end of it all, so he might actually win. Who knows? In quotes.
So the
Yeah,
series finale, I thought, was one of the most satisfying I've seen in a long time, at least as far as an animated show goes.
yeah. I mean, look. At the end of the day, with the finale, I liked it. I don't know if I can't tell you if the clones are a little much or not, but it's the whole Webby thing. I think the Webby thing ended properly, though. I think that was a good place to leave her. I love the contract loophole. That's my favorite part of the finale. The idea that the whole like family's the adventurers, the real adventure, the greatest adventure. And I love how it connects to the first adventure kind of flashback episode where I love that episode too. I love that they kind of correlate with each other. So yeah, I think everything really kind of came together for the last season. We kind of got in like, okay, what haven't we done yet? Like I don't know if we're gonna. I forget. Do you know when they found out it was gonna be their last season? Do you know if they knew at the top or like they just kind of found
I'm
out
not
towards?
sure.
Right, it just kind of feels like, okay, guys, what have we not done yet? Let's do it. Let's get it in there.
I mean, they even worked gargoyles in somehow.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes and no, but yeah.
Oh, we
I
at
mean,
least got the music.
it's Keith David doing the voice. That's the most that he is a gargoyle, but not like that gargoyle. But yeah,
I know, but we got the music, Dragon. We got the
you're
music.
okay. You're right about
It's a gargoyle.
Yeah, but trust me, Tiki, it's not the gargoyle.
No, I know it's not. I know Goliath well enough, but
Seriously though, you haven't binged that yet, right?
no, I've seen about the first season. I haven't binged the whole thing.
Xanatos is so awesome in that show. He's like the
All
reverse
right, all
Flash
right.
of that show. Anyway, I'm geeking out. Anyway, so yeah, so DuckTales season 3 is a win. Now let me very briefly tell you about the Blacklist season 8.
Oh boy.
Okay, so this is kind of like the Lucky manifest, if you will, Lucky in quotes, in that it's elongated and somehow they got I don't know whose hands they had to shake to like just they don't have to worry about cancellation of the Blacklist apparently, and they're an NBC show as well, so they made a deal with the devil and they got manifest this season somehow. I mean, look, I watched The Blacklist for the James Spader of it all, and basically the reason everyone's still watching the show is they want an answer to the big mystery, the very simple mystery of like who is Raymond Reddington slash what is his connection to the show's lead Elizabeth Keene. That's the whole mystery of the series ever since the beginning.
We still haven't fucking answered that yet.
I mean, here's the thing: they played with you. They give you they do reveal things over the course of the season.
I mean, they were like really playing that out in season 1. Is all I'm saying.
Right, and well, that's what I'm saying. They're just there are reveals, and that's just saying they keep going back and forth on certain things. I'm not saying it doesn't get old, but I'm saying because you like the characters, you like the performances, you kind of stick around for it. But this season is the most apparent it's ever gotten that, yeah, we're so close to reaching the end, yet we're still, it's like, and here's the thing, it still has another season to go somehow.
Oh, God.
So, and here's the thing. Here's what's frustrating about it. Okay, they teed up in the marketing and everything, and the finale was kind of a two-parter. Okay, and it doesn't. Here's the thing. It doesn't necessarily end on a cliffhanger, but the thing is, like they're saying, all will be revealed, and they basically revealed pretty much everything, but the one hanging chat of who precisely is Raymond Reddington, because that's the mystery they've given you. They've teased up.
Do we know the connection?
That's what I'm saying. That's. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much. Yeah, we still don't know. Here's the frustrating thing. I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. I want to phrase it very carefully. Is that it's in the fan. There's a very strong fan theory going around about what exactly is, and basically what they do in the last episode is they pretty much visually signify it, but they don't say it, which is frustrating. That's why we need another season for them just to put it in the words, confirm who Raymond Reddington is, who we think he is, which it pretty much seems like it's that, but they didn't say it.
Sure.
So it's frustrating. It's the fact that the fan theory, I think it's an out there fan theory, but I'm just saying based on how they shot the ending to the seasons, like I'm pretty sure they're saying it's that crazy fan theory, but I don't know because they didn't say it for some reason. Like they say they pretty much explain the Blacklist, the
Uh-huh.
namesake of the show, but they don't exactly say. They say, okay, Raymond Reddington isn't these people, like we've kind of said over the years of the seasons. He isn't these people, and we confirm it here. But that last episode is like he's just about to say it, and then because he wrote a letter basically to be read, but now, yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like he wrote a letter that's supposed to be read, but we didn't get it read, so it's going to be in the next season. So it's frustrating, but somehow it keeps you around because you like it, you like the adventures. You're like, okay, we're stopping bad, like the worst of the worst on the FBI's most wanted list. So it's kind of there's it's just maddening. It's nice, but it's maddening, and it's the fact that like Liz is getting a little tiresome. We kind of signify that in the show, so
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So next up, we finally reached it. June 2021. Movies. Oh my god, an hour and a half in. Okay.
Yeah.
Luca. Let's sing Luca's praises. Dragon. It's so good.
Yeah.
Dragon, here's what I love about Luca, just in terms of I love how it's an underdog story. I love how when the first initial reviews were coming out, people were like, oh, it's not A-grade Pixar. Oh, if you're looking for a Coco or an Inside Out, this isn't the place. Oh, this is like another genuinely disappointing Pixar effort. And then Dragon, as soon as the public got a hold of this movie, it took on a life of its own, and I fucking love it for that.
Yeah.
I love how the public has responded to this movie. It's so great, because I am so sick of people. I'm just gonna get on my soapbox for just a second, all right? Please bear with me here. I'm sick of people just expecting every single Pixar movie, like, oh, if it's not better than Inside Out, if it's not better than Coco, then it's a failure. And I'm like, no, guys, like Pixar is Ratatouille is a very small scale Pixar movie, and that is like easily one of your fuckers' favorite Pixar movies. So calm down. This is much more in line with a Ratatouille than an Inside Out. All right, Dragon, I'm done. God, it just... I'm just so glad that the general public responded to this movie in the way that they did, because, man, the critics were fucking harsh on it, and it pissed me off.
Yeah, Luca, it's a great and pleasant summer movie for Pixar. That's really what it is. Like, it's a perfect summer movie for Pixar. And I think Absolutely. They finally kind of cracked... What?
I said absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think they just kind of cracked the code and Pixar finally nailed that this is how you do a summer movie, and it's a perfect way to kind of kick off the summer too, given how the date it came out, which is pretty much like the dawning of summer. Enrico Casarosa, the La Luna director, did this, and he did a bang up job. I love that we're giving kind of our short directors, giving them their big kind of big breaks.
I love that it's just full of his personal style. I love that you can distinctly tell that it's his movie.
Yeah, I mean, the best comparison I have for the movie, it's kind of like, it's like, I've been using the Miyazaki thing, but to nail it down a little more specifically, it's like Porco Rosso meets Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown.
With a little bit of Ponyo thrown in for good measure.
Well, I mean, sure, it's with kind of the undersea aspect, but I'm just saying with our we literally go to Porto Rosso,
seaside town as well.
That's what I'm saying. So we'll literally go up. It's not so much a seaside town. It's literally Porto Rosso. Tiki.
All right,
so
yes, I get it.
Yeah, which by the way, Porto Rosso is just such a beautiful set piece. My God,
I want Porto Rosso to be an Epcot expansion so bad, Dragon.
Me too. It's great. It's beautiful. I mean, Porto Rosso. I mean, the place is my favorite thing about Porto Rosso
is that those Vespas would make such great ride vehicles. It makes so much sense as a ride vehicle. It'd be so much fun to ride around in, grab the handlebars.
I agree. My favorite thing about just Porto Rosso as a location, just every time, any way you slice it, whether it be Miyazaki or be this, is I just love the idea of it's a seaside town, but we have like a train built into the mountain almost. It just looks
totally, yeah.
It just looks great. Anyway, so yeah, it's this movie about a summer friendship, and Vespa. Like the stakes are we going to get the Vespa or not? It's staked just right.
There's nothing wrong with stakes that low.
Yeah, and I love it. It's like we want to win so we can buy a Vespa, just kind of go on the open road, essentially, go to adventure, and it's fun with a real sweetness to it, and it has this effect where it kind of gets better as it grows. There's nothing necessarily wrong with Act 1, but once we get to Porto Rosso, that's Act where things really
feels more like stock B-grade Pixar in a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's stock, sure, it's a little stock, but it's fine. It's like it's kind of casual. It's more like casual. So that's the thing. It just gets better once we progress. And Act 3 is like utterly, it's the MVP. It's like the best act of the movie. My God, Act 3 is so much. It's so fun. And it has all the compelling stuff. It's great. My God, Massimo when he sticks up for the boys, I love that so much.
Oh yeah.
I know who they are. But anyway, so a lot of love for Luca. Luca did a bang up job as a summer movie. It was good.
All right. So, you know what's another just easygoing summer movie that's a heart-tugging Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Yeah. So, what did you think of this? We both have seen this, by the way. So, Tiki, what did you think of Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard?
Man, I feel like I think in some ways it has higher highs than the first one, just because it is nice to see more of the character, and of course she was the most compelling thing about the first movie. But I think the plot in this one is so much worse than the first.
Really?
Here's the thing. I like the character beats in here. Like, I like the fact that Ryan Reynolds is, he's on that, like, the sabbatical thing. I think that's a very funny evolution to go with the character. I like the fact that he's basically on this, he's basically the third wheel on the date from hell. That's really fun. Dragon, the actual plot of it, the actual, like, the espionage of it all lost me. Like, I had such a hard time following the actual plot here.
All right, so
I enjoyed the character stuff, but the plot was just kind of a blur by the end of it. It's like, okay, like they're putting the fucking bomb in the river, and that's going to destroy the world or whatever. All right.
Well, so they're gonna drill into the thing, basically black out the town. That's the plan. So
yeah, so go get him, Sam Jackson. You can do it. That's pretty much where I was by the end.
Go get him, Sam Jackson. Do your stuff. Yeah.
Like, all right. Oh, they're drilling it. They're drilling it to the river. Oh no.
Oh God!
But like I said, Dragon, character-wise, this one was on point. I do think these are charming characters, and honestly, given the hilarious ending of this movie,
okay,
I would be down for a third one with that kind of premise.
Okay, so let me tell you how I felt about the movie.
Okay,
so I enjoyed the first Hitman's Bodyguard because it's probably more than most. I had funny Ryan Reynolds comedy. It was kind of an '80s buddy movie throwback, and I like Patrick Hughes' directing style. I mean, I like it. And I was looking forward to the sequel big time. Of course, I'm a sucker for Ryan Reynolds, and I like the first one. So story wise, it's tricky story wise because story wise, it's a little more interesting than the first one. Because remember, the first one's very stock. It's very much '80s movie, just kind of laid out. We have like a parody of an '80s.
That's the thing, though, Dragon. I don't think these movies need complicated stories. I feel like they're better with the stock stories because I think the strength of this movie and this movie series clearly is on the character.
Yeah, and I concur with that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's very funny in places for sure, and of course, the big sell of movie is pairing Salma Hayek and Ryan Reynolds together, which is great.
I mean, those two together are great, but I think when the three of them are together, that's when the movie is at a high point, man.
No, you're right. That's what I'm saying, though, with the Salma Hayek and Ryan Reynolds. I love that when you get them together, you have both hilarity, but also you have like a demented sweetness to the film as well. Like they're really sweet to each other in the movie. And that, of course, Morgan Freeman, he's used so effectively and so surprisingly.
I did not know. I somehow didn't know that Morgan Freeman was going to show up on this. I know he's on the poster. Somehow I just missed it.
I knew. Here's the thing. I knew it was going to be in it, but I completely forgot about it.
So by the time we got, I was like, oh my God, no way. Like, it was a genuine reveal, Dragon.
I knew Banderas was going to be in the movie, and I'm sure because of that, I knew Freeman was. I was completely shell-shocked.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Banderas was a really nothing role for me.
Sure. And I mean, look, basically the worst. I'll say there's like a BS low of lows, which is like it's kind of, they call themselves on it though, so I can't really be that mad at it though because they say like it was all a lie, it was all sounding the amnesia plot was very fake, and they all like Ryan Reynolds go like it was like Michael Bryce says that sounds very made up. I've seen that in a movie somewhere. This whole plot before it's fun. It's just it's. I'm sure the whole sabbatical thing, by the way, it's not a problem, but I can kind of sense the sabbatical thing is basically we need to get Michael Bryce back into the headspace of the first movie where he doesn't want to kill everyone like Sam Jackson, but he's been through the experience of the first movie, so he's dealing with the aftermath, and he just doesn't want to get involved. Sam Jackson's been the bane of his existence. Darius Kincaid, so he just wants a break from him, and what does he do? Is he's thrown right back into the insanity yet again. So that's good. Now the ending of the film is the big thing for me because look, probably not good. It's insane, but I love it so much. I love the ending of the movie. I mean, specifically because of Selma Hayek's performance in that last scene. That is the most delightful thing ever, and it's absurd. But it's got the movie as a whole, especially with the ending. It's absurd, but there's a lot of fun, especially if you like the original. It's gobs of fun in places, and that ending. I agree with you, Tiki. I want to see a third one. I don't know if it's in the cards because the critics have raked this over the coals. I want it, but yeah.
The hitman's wife's son, who is also a bodyguard.
I want that, man. Let's put it on the phone. Let's put it in me. Yes. And seriously, how great that ending is so. Okay, tell me this. I gotta know this because did you watch the mid credits?
Yeah. I saw the mid
credits. Good. Okay, that basically is teeing up oh yeah, if we did a third one, this is kind of what it'd be like.
I actually think they have more material for the third one than they did going into this one.
I mean, again, it's insane, but I want to see it.
Yeah,
I'll watch it. I think it's hilarious. Oh, by the way, so
I would be all over it.
There was a post-credit gag. It wasn't footage or anything. It was just they put an in memoriam for the two decoys, which is hilarious. Anyway, but yeah, so this definitely movie I'm going to buy on Blu-ray combo pack for sure because I have that with the first one because I'd rewatch this. And it's fun. But anyway, okay, so let's talk about Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1.
Yeah, we already did a whole podcast on this, so that's up on the channel. Dre, this is pretty definitively right now my number one DC animated project. I think it's got so much more theatricality and flair for storytelling than the usual DC animated thing does. It's really elevated.
Yeah, I thought this was so good. I'm hoping Part 2 delivers. Believe me, because again, there's a lot. They got at least roughly 8 months to adapt. But if they can do it, if it was as good as this first part, I think it's going to be an excellent.
Wouldn't it be great if Part 2 was just extra long?
I want that, Tiki. I want that very badly because it's really just going to be another. The assumption is that bare minimum is going to be 85 minutes, which would make it like a 2.5 hour movie. Let's go for the 3 hours. Give them another half an hour.
Let's do
Let them breathe. At the very least, I say give them a 2 hour movie so we have nothing but time.
I think 2 hours would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, this is.
I don't think it's going to happen because one of my least favorite things with the DC movies is how it's pretty much a mandate that they're exactly an hour and 25 minutes long. But
yeah, it's a shame, and it's because it's the whole. Unfortunately, financially, they haven't been turning out the numbers that they hoped to.
Just enough to make. I understand, but the thing about it is having every one of your movies be exactly the same length is a bad look. Have some of them be a little longer, some of them be a little shorter. I'm just saying, it feels weirdly corporate,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So it's in terms of adapting the last big Batman story, it's one of the last ones left to adapt. They're doing a bang up job. I love the cast. Particularly Jensen Ackles' Batman finally happening. I think that's awesome, and as I've said before, we don't know until we get more movies in general, but. There's a question of will this be a new continuity line Batman of all these early years takes they're doing on the heroes? If it is, you can't start any better than linking them to Long Halloween. I'm for it. I'll sign off on that because this was really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll take it. It's a little. I think honestly, this has the potential if they go as the new Batman they're working with. It could be like the next Arkham game in terms of the grown-up Batman the animated series model. I think it was that good. I had a great time with it. It's very, as you said, very cinematic. Good stuff. Good drama, mystery. It's good.
All right. So let's see. So next up we have Fatherhood. Tell me about this one. Sell me on it, Dragon, because I'm kind of on the fringes of wanting to watch it.
Okay, so the shorthand bumper sticker of this is it's Kevin Hart's Jersey Girl. in terms of this is the kind of movie I've been waiting to see Kevin Hart do forever. It
Uh-huh.
really is. I was very pleased with it. He did an excellent job in a dramatic role, and there's comedy in it, but it's not really like a ha ha comedy.
Uh-huh.
It's like
Uh-huh.
again, as I said, this is based on a true story of a man who basically went through the experience of the Kevin Hart character, where it's a man who loses his wife and ends up having to raise his daughter solo. And there are a lot of they're natural. It's natural laughs versus like the forced father knows least where Kevin Hart is actually competent.
Right, right, right. Yeah. I could
We
totally picture Kevin Hart being in a bad version of that.
Yeah, and we don't do any of that. And I love he's just
Uh-huh.
going against like the grain of like everyone's expecting him to screw up and like but no, it's like the laughs are there, but like the natural laughs of fatherhood essentially. It's got a great supporting cast. His in-laws are Alfred Woodard and Frankie
Ooh.
Faison, both from Luke Cage. You have Pops and you
Ooh,
have
yeah. Yeah.
yep, you have Black Mariah.
Well,
It's
that
great.
right there
Also,
kind of makes me want to see it.
okay,
Yeah.
here's what's gonna. I'm gonna tell you someone else is in this movie from another movie you really liked. Paul Reiser. He plays his boss in this.
Okay, Paul Reiser's from what? I'm sorry.
Well, if I recall, Paul Reiser's from Whiplash. He plays the dad in Whiplash.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's not a very big role, but yeah, sure.
But here's one of our combined favorites, Anthony Carrigan. He plays Kevin Hart's friend in this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
Anyway, so it's about kind of the doubts and uncertainty of fatherhood, and how it changes and kind of like challenges who you are as a person, and like what are you willing to do, again putting another human life before yours. And again, I would love to see more stuff like this. And I know we disagree on this movie, but in general, in terms of the vibe of like seeing Kevin Hart do something different like this and the upside from Kevin Hart. But I mean,
Uh-huh.
particularly this, though, this is exactly what I've been waiting to see Kevin Hart do. Like, where he's the lead of the movie, and he's very much like this was very good. I was
I
very
mean, I don't
pleased with
I
this.
don't dislike the upside. I think the upside's fine. I just like it's not great for me.
All right, regardless, I'm saying I like that. I like seeing Kevin Hart, not just nothing against what
Yeah,
Kevin Hart
yeah.
usually does. I'm
I
saying
mean,
I
I
really
think Kevin
like.
Hart's probably the best part of that movie, honestly, because you're right. It was nice to see him branch out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like seeing Kevin Hart do something different. He does it really well and very believably, and just I don't know. There's a great honesty, and just like the humor will come out very naturally, because again, it's like it feels like a little more like a personal kind of glimpse at Kevin Hart. I don't know. I really enjoy it. And I would recommend. It's very digestible. I don't think it's a long movie, if I recall. It's again, it's pretty much just Jersey Girl, but Jersey Girl is a very underrated movie. I think it warrants a
Oh,
watch. It's
Jersey Girl
probably
is a very underrated movie. Yeah.
it's probably the better received Jersey Girl. It's probably the best way to sell
All
fatherhood
right.
to you. But it's yeah,
Fair enough.
it was a very solid watch. I enjoyed it.
Okay, let's see. So next up, I have God In the Heights. Dragon, this did
Oh
not
God,
come
I
out
thought you
well.
loved this movie.
Dragon, I was anticipating it. I was. And here's the thing about it. I think the individual musical numbers are all fantastic. And I think they will live on in YouTube for years to come. And that's how I will digest them. But fuck the movie that's around it.
Okay, so did Manuel Miranda direct this or just do the music?
No, 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 no. He produced it, and
Okay.
he's a minor character in it.
Hmm.
Dragon. The problem with this movie is that it weirdly writes around pretty much all the interesting tension that is in the original story, and I do think that's Lin-Manuel Miranda's doing. I think he rewrote it. And Dragon, because of that, you just get a movie that's just literally like has no conflict in it. And they switch things around dramatically. There's a big character death in the Heights. Anyone who knows In the Heights knows what I'm talking about. And Dragon, I swear to God, they switch it from like midway through Act 2 in the play to like the end of Act 1 in the movie. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, this character has so much more in the story. Like, why are you doing this here? Dragon, inherently as an adaptation, it is super duper flawed. Like I said, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating because the musical numbers are all filmed so well. The musical numbers understand the language of cinema, and they use that to their advantage. And in a lot of ways, they elevate what was on stage. But holy fuck, Dragon, the story around the musical numbers is honestly garbage compared to what's on stage. It really is. I mean, I don't want to say it's garbage, but it's really diluted from the original source material. It's very much like you know, you don't have to adapt everything word for word. I'm not saying that. Like, you know, as an example, one of the main characters' mothers is dead in the movie version, and I don't really have a problem with that because I think she was one of the more expendable characters in the play, and she didn't really add a ton to the story. And by her being dead, it kind of gives the father a little bit more personal motivation. So those kind of changes I'm fine with, Dragon. But like I said, when you're just kind of fucking around with the general story and the general we don't have any sort of racial tension, which I understand why you might want to shy away from that kind of stuff these days. But I mean, it was the conflict of the story. You take away the conflict, you don't have a story. This is a movie about nice people that have dreams and ultimately achieve their dreams. It's not like, I don't know, man. Like I said, the musical numbers themselves will live on in YouTube, and I'm sure I'll watch them a lot. But I don't know if I'm ever going to be compelled to just sit down and watch the actual movie from beginning to end again. It was weak sauce.
So basically, what you're saying is at this juncture, Spielberg should not be concerned of lights overshadowing.
No. Spielberg should not be concerned. No, definitely not. I think they pretty much gave Spielberg the win here.
Yep.
All right. And it's unfortunate, Dragon. It's really unfortunate. You know how much I was anticipating this.
Yeah, that's why I'm so shocked. Like, In the Heights didn't deliver for you, but
it really didn't. It really didn't.
Yep. All right. So let me tell you about Wish Dragon.
Yeah, this is another one I've been meaning to get to. Honestly, Dragon, if I hadn't started my True Detective rabbit hole, I probably would have gotten to this.
Yep. So let me Wish Dragon, let me be clear. Okay, so outside the obvious unavoidable thing that everyone their mother says, the whole obvious Aladdin parallels and comparison, is a very solid film, man. This is I'm
less worried about about that. I'm more worried about is it one of those movies that's just like factory designed to cater to the China crowd? Because Dragon, you know how I feel about shit like that.
I mean, it didn't really cross my mind at all watching the movie. I was having such a good time with it. It was was quite refreshing, quite fun. It was an endearing story, and there's not romance necessarily, as in you root for the kids, but there's no real pursuit of romance in the film, which is really refreshing. It's purely a young man trying to reunite with his childhood friend, and with the help of Wish Dragon.
It's almost like platonic friendships in animation should be a thing or something.
I know, that's the crazy thing about this month. I mean, that's the other thing. It's very much a platonic friendship. I mean, you can see the seeds of maybe some more, but they're not thinking in those terms at all. It's the audience thing of I'd like them to get together. I'm sure the mother wants them to get together, but but this is, if I recall, it was a Chinese production through and through. I believe I want to say it was a Chinese animation studio, and Chinese, very predominantly Chinese crew cast, you name it. Turned out great. The animation performance in particular was great. I think the standout, Long the Wish Dragon, that's his name, Long. He was a standout. Mm-hmm. Now John Cho does the voice of him, from Searching, that guy.
Yeah, I know John Cho, of course.
Well, yeah, he was great. Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah, but he was. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he was. He had how we always keep pitching that Jonathan Banks thing for the remake of Aladdin.
Yes.
For Jonathan Banks. They kind of went away, not precisely that, but kind of that. For the direction of how you do kind of your genie archetype, where this is a guy where he's a lot more kind of, he's not Robin Williams, quippy and everything, but he's very much kind of the grumpy guy. He's very much he has imagine a grumpy guy who wants to make a sale. Come on, make your wish so I can be done. That sort of thing. And John Cho really delivered. It's the third act's crazy in the best way. It's again, you have a solid arc with the dragon character as he becomes educated by the main character. There's charming animation. It's a charming animation win for Netflix yet again, Tiki. I think it's yet again another win.
That's why I want Infinity Train on Netflix, Dragon.
That's what I'm saying. Infinity Train would be an excellent company.
Yeah,
with Netflix is booing. And that's what I'm saying. For any of the critics out there, anyone's just going on and on about the 11 games. I know you're not worried about, but just if it is like the Chinese take on Aladdin, you could do a lot worse in terms of your comparison. Everyone loves Aladdin. What's wrong with that? It's been a while too. Like, if we're gonna take another stab, this is different enough. It was a good movie. Wish Dragon was cool.
That's fair. Yeah. All right. Okay, so let's see what's up on my end. We have. Oh God, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
And now, also, I wouldn't mention because we're on The Conjuring right now. We need visual again. Okay.
Dragon, I was going into this knowing it was probably going to be a disappointment. It's not directed by James Wan like the other two.
Oh, really? It's not directed by him?
No, it's not. No.
But he directed the second one, though, right?
He directed the first two.
Huh, that's weird.
The second one in particular is one of my favorite horror movies of the 2010s.
Yeah, I remember you really going on about
I really think
one, yeah.
The Conjuring 2 is like a great example of modern blockbuster horror done right. Like, it is the kind of horror that's very flashy and very based on jump scares, but it's done right. This one is not. The weird thing about this, Dragon, is they kind of try and make it like a true crime sort of thing, and that really messes with things. Like they kind of try and tie everything into like this weird witch cult, and so there's like a human antagonist who's sort of controlling things with voodoo or something. I don't know. It goes way off the rails. The one thing I can say for it is that Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are still incredibly charming.
That's good.
They own these roles, Dragon. I really think they're just super, super comfortable in these roles at this point. I would honestly just watch any Conjuring movie at this point just to see them. To me, it's kind of like how you watch The Blacklist for James Spader.
Yeah.
It's but man, what a step down from part two. What a step down from part two. I mean, honestly, Dragon, there's a couple Conjuring spin-offs that are way better than this. Certainly Annabelle Creation. Certainly. That's one of the best Conjuring movies, period. But I mean, I don't know, man. This, it's not as bad as something like The Nun, because you remember how much I really didn't like The Nun. It's not as bad as that. It has its moments. But God, it is just yet another Dragon. To me, it feels like a classic example of a third movie in a trilogy that just couldn't stick to landing. It's like a classic example of that. It's got its moments, but it's nowhere near as good as the first two.
I see. Huh.
All right.
Okay, so let me tell you about a Netflix movie, The Ice Road.
Okay, can I just say, ever since they teased Liam Neeson and the, and whatever that, God, in the Daddy's Home sequel, Dragon.
Yep.
Ever since then, I feel like Liam Neeson's career has literally turned into that.
Well, remember, okay, so after they made that gag in Daddy's Home 2, he did Cold Pursuit, which was
That's what I'm saying. He did Cold Pursuit. I think Cold Pursuit got a sequel too, right?
No. Well, at least it hasn't been made yet. I don't know if it's commissioned or not, but they just did one Cold Pursuit movie.
But now we're getting this, which feels like another kind of like, cold Liam Neeson movie with a truck.
Yeah. So I hear your point, though. Yes, it's kind of weird how it's worked out. But remember, I told you, like, I don't know if it was May or it was catch up. It was either May or April. Remember that Liam Neeson movie, The Honest Thief, which was really good.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so The Ice Road. It's Neeson as an ice road trucker. The guys who drive. They had the gobs of those reality shows. Like the whole they're driving on the ice. And let me make it very clear. I went into this movie purely for the Neeson of it all. I needed something, and it was just this. it's a subject I have no interest in. Like I remember rolling my eyes, like, oh, the ice trucker shows. God, like I have no interest in those subjects. But Tiki, this movie makes a very compelling case for it
Oh dear
cinematically that
God.
I did not expect. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I would not. I would only recommend this to you as an oddity, not as like
Uh-huh.
a strong recommendation. Only as like if you're curious, just to see how the heck they did it. It would be this where the premise is very simple. These miners get trapped, kind of like the Chilean miners, kind of like they're trapped underground, and basically they need these trucks. They're in Canada when this happens, like in Winnipeg, Canada. So they need truck drivers. They drive across and bring them this equipment so they can be saved. Very simple. And if they do it, they get big money. So it's a dangerous journey to Winnipeg, being the idea, and the way they show how dangerous the ice truck kind of job is. It's like it's a thing. I've always heard. I knew the traveling on the ice. It was a dangerous job. I knew that, but I've never
I
quite
don't think
seen
the
it.
show cinematically shows that well.
And that's what I'm saying. I've never visualized it. And the way this movie
Yeah.
visualized it, my
Because
God,
honestly, when you watch the show, like the brief times I've seen it when my dad was watching it on History Channel, it's mostly just been like, yeah, looks like they're driving in some really bad weather.
right?
It's harrowing in itself, but it's like you don't get the sense of like the actual ice part of it.
Yeah, and Tiki, that's what this movie does really well. So this, like this way, this is less an action movie. This is a tension movie. It's a
Okay.
thriller, man. This is the tension is so palpable when they go on the ice. It's like three trucks, okay, and you have Lawrence Fishburne is driving one of the trucks. He's good in this too.
Okay.
You have Lawrence Fishburne, Liam Neeson, and they have this female character. Anyway, so Neeson in himself, he impresses, as he always tends to do, even in these movies. Neeson, he impresses. He has a really nice motivation where he and his brother. His brother is his sidekick in the movie. He's the mechanic for the truck, and his brother, he has a little bit of PTSD. He's gone through some stuff, and the idea he has a very loving dynamic and a kind of a duty bound sense to look out for his brother. He's a really loving relationship he has with his brother, and it's kind of the endearing reason for the adventure because he needs to help him out. Hence the reason he's taking the job. So it's the movie. It's kind of full of, again, like harrowing moments on the ice with just pure tension. Like, oh my God, I never thought about how dangerous it is. I thought it was like they're driving on roads that are like black ice or something, but no, they're driving on legit ice. As in, there was a moment where, oh God, if they hit some thin ice or if that ice starts to melt, and it's the fact that it's a very precise art to the truck driving. I never considered these things. I thought it was so simple. And it just there are surprises in the movie. There are a few matchstick moments. Like, how the heck are they going to get out of this? It's so much more engrossing than you'd ever expect it to be. So I just feel the oddity of it all. Yeah, that's what I'd recommend for, just purely for this to see how the heck they did it. Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, Queen Bees. I forgot I even saw.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this one, man. Tell me about it.
Reckon it's not great. Why are you interested in it?
Well, no, it's the cast that has me interested.
The cast is fine. Christopher Lloyd, I can tell you, is just kind of in the background making goofy faces most of the time.
So basically, it's not like his performance in Nobody.
Oh God, no. Oh,
okay, that's what kind of got me excited. Oh man, Christopher Lloyd might be having a comeback big time. Like Nobody.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
I mean, he's fun enough. It's Christopher Lloyd making funny faces, so you're gonna get what you're gonna get from that. But Christopher Lloyd basically plays like the single swinging man that comes into the retirement community.
Okay.
But he's a background character mostly. But I don't know, Dragon. This movie's very bland, very, very, very bland. It feels like a Lifetime movie, honestly.
No.
I watched it mostly, like you said, for the cast, Christopher Lloyd, and then also my beloved Elizabeth Mitchell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Elizabeth Mitchell has such a thankless role.
I heard, isn't like
disapproving mother.
Isn't like James Caan in this?
James Caan is good.
That's what I'm saying. The cast alone kind of has me sold, but you're saying so it's very by the numbers. It's very Lifetimey.
It's very Lifetimey. It's very the whole thing is like, oh, the woman thinks she's self-suspicious. He doesn't want to move into retirement community. But Elizabeth Mitchell is disapproving daughter, and Elizabeth Mitchell insists that she moves into retirement.
Oh, they gave her that role? Oh,
yeah,
no.
exactly. They gave her that role. Yes.
They didn't even. Here's the thing. This show, if you told me it was a Hallmark movie, then I'd be
so
sold.
thankless. It's such a thankless role, Dragon.
I was so hoping you were gonna like confuse Lifetime for Hallmark, but no, you're saying it's literally like a Lifetime movie, which is get 10 times worse than a Hallmark movie.
This is not a Hallmark movie. This is a Lifetime movie.
Because the Hallmark movies are charming to me, but the Lifetime movies, like, oh god, these are just leave for
so it's just a very typical, like, oh, she doesn't get along with the women at first, but then she gets to know them on a personal level, and they all have real world struggles, and the main bitch is only a bitch because of some tragic thing. It's so by the book, Dragon.
Man, that's
it's
disappointing.
so by the book.
I was so hoping you were gonna have like a maybe not a glowing recommendation, but like, yeah, this was nice. None of that.
Like kind of like a downhill kind of recommendation of like,
I was looking for like a downhill.
No.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry.
Oh well.
Dragon, honestly, is enticing as the cast is, and trust me, I get you. The only reason I saw this was because of the cast. And also just because it feels like the type of movie that I like me and my grandma would like, you know?
Yeah.
But no. Just no.
Oh well.
All right.
All right, so now we move on to the catch-up portion.
All righty, catch-up. So yeah, Amistad.
La Amistad.
All right, Dred, this was fantastic. Honestly,
Yeah.
like, the more I think about it, the more I kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, this movie always captured my interest, in the fact that we were finally able to watch it for Spielberg month. Remember, the thing that really hits me about Amistad is the fact that it was kind of like what the HBO Watchmen did with the Tulsa Massacre. This illuminated a lot of people. They had no idea about this historic event of there was like the one slave ship that rebelled. You know, that's pretty massive. And just, you know, again, Spielberg making the courtroom drama fresh. And this is something on Better Call Saul all the time. They're terrified doing the courtroom drama stuff because they know, like, it's been done to death. So how do you make it? How do you spice it up? Spielberg found a way as well here. This is how you spice it up. You don't do the traditional courtroom drama.
Sure.
You take a very unique situation, yeah.
So I think the cast really is what sells it here. Obviously Matthew McConaughey.
Djimon Hounsou.
Yeah, Hounsou, best performance of his career as far as I'm concerned from everything I've seen him in.
Yep.
Anthony Hopkins delivers a kick-ass role.
My God, Anthony Hopkins. We use him so sparingly yet so effectively as John
He's
Quincy
like the light
Adams.
version of Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. He's only got a few scenes, but all his scenes are like super pivotal to the story.
He's making it. We use him almost like once per act, but act 3 we use him a few more times. That's the thing. So I can't say once per act, but I want to say that's thing. We use him very sparingly, and that's honestly kind of the winning formula for Anthony Hopkins. Like, look at Silence of the Lambs. We use him very sparingly. It's very effective.
I mean, outside of the father.
Not sure. Nothing. Yeah, you're right. Father's absolutely.
The father is very much an enigma.
Okay, so my analogy's terrible. Okay. Okay, forget my analogy.
All right.
But no, he delivers one of the great speeches as the film's climax, which is just really, really great. Oh my God, that speech! Like, it's a man reflecting on his life in a closing statement to the Supreme Court. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Also, harrowing Schindler's List-esque depiction of slavery.
Oh yeah, I mean, I actually kind of get behind that version of how you do stuff that's that hard hitting. Is that you really like you build up the characters, then you hit them with something like that, and it doesn't last the whole movie, but it lasts long enough for you to get a real impression of it.
Yeah, we use the Return of the Joker method, where we have we have like the big standout flashback sequence that just conveys the horror and the dread of the Joker. In that case, in this case, we just take like we've seen them rebel, but what motivated that rebellion? Yeah.
So yeah, really good there.
Also, fun fact for the kids: Chiwetel Ejiofor's film debut, which is a pretty solid role too, as the translator.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, Amistad, very impressive.
All right, what's next?
Be your experience with Spielberg, the HBO documentary.
Yes. This is just it kind of stuck with me, Dragon. This is a super good documentary. What I like about it is that it kind of like it roughly sticks to chronological order. But instead of going film by film, it more so goes theme by theme, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that was such a compelling way to do it. And it really just gave me an even bigger respect for Spielberg's filmography, specifically the second half. Honestly, Dragon, I feel like the big narrative hook of this thing is how did the man who made stuff like E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark and Jaws go on to make stuff like Schindler's List and Amistad and Lincoln, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the journey there is very, like, it's depicted in a very, very cohesive way that makes a lot of sense, and it really does kind of give you a newfound respect, because I feel like a lot of the time people say that Spielberg's lost his touch, and I mean, I'll be honest with you, the past couple Spielberg movies have not been great. Let's be clear here. The Post, not great. Ready Player One, not great. But you know, we'll see. I'm very much anticipating. West Side Story. Lincoln was not that long ago in the grand scheme of things, and that I think is wonderful. So, but regardless, Dragon, it just gives us such a good portrait of the man.
Yeah, I can't tell you how rewatchable that documentary is.
I'm sure it is. I feel like
it.
I feel like it is kind of like an Empire of Dreams in that regard.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yes.
Especially with the framing device of the Lawrence of Arabia bookends.
I love the David Lean love fest that bookends the movie so much. Like, who are you? It's great.
All right, so Dragon, I saw 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure.
What did you think of this?
I quite enjoyed it.
Honestly. I figured.
Here's the thing. It doesn't have the atmosphere of the original movie, but I think as far as just being like a slapstick comedy goes, it might be even better. So Dragon, you know, the really charming thing about this movie is you know, the heroic dog that they're all watching on TV?
Yeah, it's go into the B. It was like Bolt. No, darn, I forget the dog's name. Thunder or something.
Thunder. That's it.
Wait, is it Thunder?
Yeah, it's Thunder.
Huh. There you go.
He is actually like one of the main characters of this movie, and it's kind of like a bolt type situation.
I remember that part of the movie.
Yeah, and so that is really well done. I honestly think the main narrative crux there is a little bit more interesting than it was in the first movie. And then, meanwhile, what we do with Corella is fucking weird, and I love it.
Remind me what we do with Cruella. It's been a while.
Okay, it's weird, man. It's pretty. So essentially, in order to kind of like hold off her obsession with Dalmatian, she gets into the fine art world and starts doing a series of paintings that are basically just Dalmatian spots.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it goes off the rails, and it's a lot of fun, Dragon. It really is. Like I don't think it's as good as the first movie, just because I feel like the first movie, like obviously it was kind of like a technological breakthrough with the Xerox, and it has stuff like the Twilight Bark.
I love the Dalmatians and the snow effect so much in that.
Yeah. Great. But I like, honestly, Dragon, I would say as far as Disney sequels go, direct to video, this might be one of the closest ones to like legitimately capturing the tone of the first movie. I like this quite a bit.
That's fair.
All right.
All right. So let me tell you about this documentary I saw. Now, you're sure you haven't seen this, right?
It sounds familiar, but I'm pretty sure I haven't.
Okay, so it's called Kid 90. Now, this was a documentary on Hulu about Punky Brewster. I'm just trying to get home. I don't want to mispronounce her name. Soleil Moon Frye, the actress who played Punky Brewster. So so the idea is, like, as a kid in the 90s, she always had a camera with her, so she had all this footage of her and her child star buddies and her experience growing up. And basically she directed this. She put the movie together. It was very much a passion project. And it's basically her using footage of her experience and other, kind of child stars. And as they reflect on what it's like to grow up a child star, both through the good and the bad times. Yeah.
No, I definitely have not seen this.
Yeah, this is. I think you'd really like it. It's good for me, though. It warrants another watch to fully appreciate. I think I might have missed something, but it was good though. It might be great, but I wouldn't go as far as to say until I've watched it another time. It is good. It's a very effective device. The effective device, for me, I think one of the big standouts was this moment where we cover kind of the dark segment of child stardom, which is some child stars, they don't handle fame well, very clearly, and some child stars, like for example, we have footage of him, which is kind of shocking. Jonathan Brandis, remember Jonathan Brandis?
No, I don't actually.
The kid from Sidekicks.
No, I'm sorry, Dragon. That's not ringing a bell.
Never-ending Story 2.
No, I'm sorry, Dragon.
No, it's fine. The point being, he took his own life, if I recall, which is basically the element of tragedy. In regards, so we cover him, and so we have like some cathartic reflections in the film. Being like the girl, for example, the Punky Brewster, she was under a lot of media scrutiny in her development. So much so, I believe she got like there's like this weird thing. I think she was so pressured she got like breast reduction because she was just paranoid by the paparazzi, which is psychotic. I mean, I feel horrible for her. Like she was like once she was drugged and she was sexually assaulted. Like we cover that stuff. A lot of dark stuff happened to the girl here, and it's it's very interesting stuff. There's a lot of familiar faces. Like David Arquette. You have archival footage of people like Corey Feldman and Charlie Sheen and such. It just feels relevant because of here's the thing. The reason this thing is made and it came out this year is because I believe, I don't know if it was this year or last year, they had the Punky Brewster revival series, like they're doing the Punky Brewster grown up series. And I just feel it's really relevant now to talk about this stuff. And the culture now is all about returning to the nostalgia. Like we're doing the iCarly reboot and everything. And I think to appreciate the revival, we need to appreciate the journey getting there with our celebrities and our child stars and everything. So, before we go back to the well, so we've earned the journey back. So I think this kind of documentary kind of speaks to the appreciation of that a little bit. So I like that, and it was nice.
Cool. Okay, Lincoln Lawyer.
I didn't have time to get this in, but tell me about it, please.
Greg, don't get your hopes up about it too much. All right, it's fun, but the premise is the best thing about it. So basically, Dragon. This is obviously but just to recap for the audience here. It's about Matthew McConaughey, who's kind of like a sleazy Saul Goodman-esque lawyer. His office is a Lincoln. He drives around with a chauffeur who is also his personal office assistant, if you will.
I love it.
Dragon, here's another little detail about the chauffeur you're going to really love, all right?
Tell me.
He's got headphones that he puts on whenever McConaughey has to make a call.
Nice.
So it's like they keep it like super simple, like super casual. Like it's so set up.
Nice.
Dragon, unfortunately, beyond the Lincoln thing and beyond the fact that McConaughey is just, hey, all right, I'm a charming Saul Goodman-esque lawyer, all right.
Compared to the lawyer he was in Amistad.
It's really a stock courtroom drama, Dragon. It's really, there's not much to it. Marissa Tomei's fine. I mean, it's got a solid cast. My big thing about it that really kept me from loving it was the direction, because it's kind of done in this sort of like pseudo Paul Greengrass, like handy handheld camera style. But honestly, Drake, it's weird because it some of it almost feels like a pseudo documentary, and then some of it just kind of feels like they're just being lazy with the camera work. And overall, that just gives the whole film this kind of like unprofessional vibe about it, because they can't figure out the aesthetic of the movie. The movie really has no aesthetic. And that's the main, like, it very much feels like a TV movie, Dragon. Very much feels like a TV movie with an all-star cast and a good premise. Michael Pena, there you go. He's also he's good.
It's so weird because this sounds like absolutely the movie you want to do, that Better Call Saul idea of the lawyer who's going to settle up to the steps of the courthouse. Just anything so he doesn't have to go inside. You want like a scrambling lawyer who's like driving around a Lincoln. It sounds like James McGill Esquire, how may I direct your call? It sounds like it could be that. But
no, I mean, like, honestly, Dragon, it's the type of premise where I'm legitimately surprised we haven't seen Saul Goodman doing something like this, like logistically, it kind of like it makes sense for a sleazy lawyer to do.
Well, we know he's going to get that Cadillac next season, so
yeah. Well, maybe the Cadillac will be his office. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, well, he doesn't have that office yet, so maybe.
Exactly. So yeah, Dragon, I was really looking forward to this, but unfortunately, I feel like it kind of feels like it fails on just being like an easygoing piece because it gets way too self-serious with the courtroom stuff, but the courtroom stuff fails because it's just not all that compelling. And so ultimately what you're left with is just kind of like a weirdly empty movie that just happens to have a very enjoyable premise. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news in that regard.
Oh well.
All right.
All right. So let me tell you about a little documentary I saw.
Little documentary. All right.
Okay, so this is a documentary I found on Netflix. It's called "Cracked Up: The Daryl Hammond Story."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm not sure how familiar you are with SNL. So Daryl Hammond is
I'm
one of
pretty
the
familiar with SNL.
Daryl Hammond ring any bells?
Yeah. Oh, I know who Daryl Hannah is.
Oh,
Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm sorry, I was unfamiliar. I basically I knew the Bill Clinton impression and the Sean
Yeah,
Connery
I'm
impression.
very
I never put
familiar
it.
with Daryl Hannah.
Okay, well there you go. So of course, for the folks out there, famous for his impressions, particularly Bill Clinton, Al Gore, Ted Koppel, and Sean Connery on Jeopardy, which is hilarious. Yeah, so this is very much
Dragon
a
Jeopardy is like that's like the gift that keeps on giving with SNL, right?
it is
Like throughout the
absolutely.
years, I don't think they've ever done a bad Jeopardy sketch.
Black Jeopardy sketch is really funny. By
Oh
the
my
way,
god, the Black Jeopardy sketches are like a keystone of modern SNL.
one with
But
Tom
anyway.
Hanks just cracks me up so much. Have you ever seen that one?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah. So anyway, so this is a very much, as you can probably guess, is a very tragedy behind the comedy tale. Taking a look, you know me, I don't usually buy into this sort of thing, but unfortunately, I kind of have to say this. I don't usually think in terms like this, but it's very much like a this would trigger you thing. So I mean, I want to recommend this to you, but this one actually might be
How
triggering.
so?
You know me, I don't like triggering. So anyway, so here's why. So we learn about Daryl Hammond's backstory, the tragedy behind his comedy, which is really, really shocking, shockingly dark. His mother abused him so horribly as a child, it gave him PTSD.
Yeah, you're right. That
And
would be shit to stick away from.
and that's the thing. I really wish I could recommend this to you, but I know.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, this is me. Like,
I mean, just to
right?
be clear, folks, my mother is not abusive, but she is with someone who is abusive. So it's kind of like
that's not even really the triggering part. But I mean, I guess that's already kind of half of it. But it's like this has led to various, for him, various suicidal tendencies in like behind the scenes of the sketches too, which makes it really palpable. So yeah, he wrote a book, and essentially that turned to a one-man show, which essentially is turned into the documentary summarizing the events. It's just to say it though, it's a very interesting yet dark story. The good news is there's like a light at the end of the tunnel to the story. You know, it's like he has a daughter and everything in their life. He's he's been able to kind of persevere, and the really nice thing about it is that he. It's very much how a man overcomes hardship by telling his story as kind of like a release valve and like a way to help other folks. So that's kind of the nice part of the story. It's kind of the light at the end of the tunnel of all this darkness, but he's kind of chugging on through it. I mean, it's still there, but what he's kind of getting it out there. He's getting it off his chest. He's kind of sharing it with the world and unafraid, and it's inspiring. I'll give you that. It's really inspiring, and it was a really solid documentary. It was a really, really good watch.
Cool. All right, Compliance. Oh, God, I feel so uncomfortable talking about this movie because, like, oh God, this whole movie just made me want to take a shower, Dragon.
Oh God, really?
So the basic premise is that it's based on a series of like I would call them extreme prank phone calls.
Yeah.
And essentially what happened, Dragon, is that somebody called a McDonald's, and in this case it's kind of a like an off-brand chicken place. I think it's called like I don't know. Like
wait. So is this based on like a true thing?
It's
or is this
based on a true story. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So essentially, this guy crank calls a McDonald's. Long story short, he accuses one of the cashiers of stealing money. Says he's a police officer. Says they've got a customer with them at the police station that can ID the girl. And Dragon, long story short, it leads to some horrific, very, very, very dehumanizing things that happen to this poor girl.
So this isn't just like a crank call, as in this is someone with a conspiracy, right?
I would say I would define it as like just someone who's fucked up, and this is like his idea of a crank call.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's a sick puppy who wants to victimize somebody.
Pretty much.
Okay, I just want to clarify. It wasn't just like a crank call, then just kind of led the bad.
No, it's like it's a
guy
sick puppy's idea of a crank call, essentially.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if
so Dragon Ann Dowd plays the manager.
And why is that name familiar?
Oh, she's Leftovers, Patty.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she is just the type of manager where it's like oh my god, it's like, kind of like familiar to like.
Yeah, it's like a real world manager. It's not like we zhuzhed up like an actress. It's
right,
like,
but like she'll be nice to you on surface level, but she'll stab you in the back the second that you that you do something that's out of line. Oh god. Dragon, I don't even really want to talk about what goes down in this movie as far as like the details of it. All I can tell you is it's pretty hard to watch. Performances are all great, like Ann Dowd's great, but I don't know. I didn't enjoy this just because it was like it just felt very uncomfortable. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to give too much time.
I just think it's kind of crazy that it sounds like from this point forward, we're going to end up with kind of our lists are kind of having that theme of like, man, we're getting really dark with our list somehow. It's going to feel that way, right?
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of seem that way.
I know.
Dragon, at the end of the day, this movie felt a little exploitive, honestly. Like, it's the type of story that, like, sometimes stories are so personal that they don't really need to be turned into movies, and I just feel bad for like the real life person that went through this. And it's not like a flashy story, it's just a very ugly, very raw story. I don't really think there was much benefit to doing this as a movie, so that's kind of where I'm coming down on it, Dragon. At the end of the day, like, it just kind of made me feel icky.
This is why we need more Pop-Tart biopics.
Exactly.
Just to lighten things up, we need more.
Yeah.
The origin of the Pop-Tart. Jerry Seinfeld needs to do some biopics. They gotta brighten things up, like the Kellogg story.
Paperman, Dragon, is Paperman like the Disney movie?
Sadly, no.
Oh God.
I remember for years though, when Paperman came out, I was like looking for it online when it came out way back when. It was like every time the other thing that would pop up was this. Okay, so I was on a Ryan Reynolds kick. I had it was kind of a choice between two actors for kind of tying to maybe a bit of a theme this month. I ended up with two Ryan Reynolds movies. So yeah, this is Ryan Reynolds. Kind of these two movies I'm about to talk about. They're kind of Ryan Reynolds indie movies. So this is these are indie movies pre-Deadpool. This was in 2009. This is about Jeff Daniels, who's a struggling writer. He's working on a novel. He goes to Long Island in the winter to kind of concentrate, kind of focus on typing up the novel. And he's a very insecure man. He's and basically we voice this insecurity through his childhood imaginary friend, who is Ryan Reynolds, dressed as, I don't know if you've ever seen like the poster, like an image of this dude. It's like he's dressed as a very generic, superhero archetype. He's Captain Excellent. And this is like Ryan Reynolds, like blonde hair. He's in a very
I haven't seen the poster, but that sounds like a very kind of like, that's exactly the type of role I would expect Ryan Reynolds to have.
Yeah, and he's basically Bing Bong as a superhero in this.
Here's what I like about Ryan Reynolds. I feel like he's the type of actor that is typecast, but somehow they're able to come up with roles for him where it's like, even though he kind of like has the same sort of demeanor in every movie he plays, like somehow the concepts of his roles are different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, now he's very much like, again, that's for example, like Deadpool is what Ryan Reynolds is put on this earth to be. He has to be Deadpool. And this, by proxy of that, it's like, so Ryan Reynolds has a very a demeanor that's basically a less cynical version of Deadpool, but still very glib and can be cynical, where he's just, so it's kind of worked into a lot of his characters. It's a question of how much can he ease off of that for the roles. It's pretty much, it's the same actor, but he's kind of dialing it back and rechanneling it in different ways,
Sure.
So yeah, so this is Yeah, okay, he's like an over the top looking superhero. He's very. I just love how casual he is in the role, though. He's not playing like Bud Collier's Superman or anything. This looks like a job for. He's not playing that at all. It's just Ryan Reynolds who happens to be kind of dressed like a superhero. Who sometimes goes in like a heroic monologue. You know, he's basically voicing all of the Jeff Daniels.
Like
characters.
I feel like that version of Ryan Reynolds, his character in The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. And then also Free Guy. Like, that's a good example of three characters that have kind of like the overall same sort of demeanor, but conceptually are very different.
Yeah, like for example, I mean, I just for the folks there, I'm so looking forward to Free Guy. I can't.
I know
wait.
you are. I know you are.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's very kind of archetypally just good old Ryan Reynolds for Free Guy. It's like, yeah, it's like that's the everyone loves Ryan. That's the Coke version of Ryan Reynolds. You know.
Uh-huh.
All right, so here's what I think you're going to like about this movie. So it's Jeff Daniels and Emma Stone. They're very much the leads of the movie, where Jeff Daniels makes a friend while he's kind of on like sabbatical, if you will. Writing the book. He kind of forges an indie movie friendship. That's the best way I can put it. He forges an indie movie friendship with Emma Stone to overcome both of them have issues. The Richard and Abby characters. And it's one of your boys is in it from Scott Pilgrim, Kieran Culkin. He's really good.
Oh, Kieran Culkin.
Here's the thing. I'm going to put it this way. I don't want to necessarily spoil because I think you'd like this indie movie. Tiki.
Mm-hmm.
It's Kieran Culkin has a role that gets more interesting as the movie unfolds. It's a small role, but it leads to one of the great scenes of the movie. For me, this thing honestly, the movie it's just okay to me, but it gets really. There are places where it gets really good. For me, it's like the movie. For me, like the problem was like I was going to it hoping for more Ryan Reynolds. I was hoping it was going to be Jeff Daniels and Ryan Reynolds, almost like not exactly like this, but just in terms of like kind of what your star power would be like, sort of like My Favorite Martian, where it's going to be okay. It's Jeff Daniels and the comedian in this case, Jeff Daniels and the kind of the laugh, kind of our big laugh getter. And it was it was just kind of like not enough Ryan Reynolds, but what we got of Ryan Reynolds though, we get some superb scenes with him in the last third of the movie, like an imaginary friend reflecting on the role in his kid's life, and it's like some really great understated acting from Ryan Reynolds. It's like two scenes, but they're really good scenes. Like, oh my god! So it's just it's an interesting indie movie. It's some fun stuff. You need something digestible, Tiki. This is probably it.
Okay. Well, speaking of digestible, Dragon, Unhinged. This was a very digestible movie.
All right.
I liked it quite a bit.
Oh.
Believe it or not. Here's what I like about it, Dragon. This is the type of movie. Remember last month when I talked about the firefighting movie, Those Who Wish Me Dead?
Yeah, the smoke jumpers, right?
Right, and I was like, it'd be a way better movie if it just focused on the smoke jumpers and didn't have that mob subplot in it. This, I was kind of worried, like, okay, it's Russell Crowe in road rage mode, but are they going to do some shit where it's like, he's pissed because they kidnapped his son or some sort of mob-related shit? No, it's legitimately, like, just... Dragon, the reason I like this movie is that it's very simply like she honks at him for not going through a green light fast enough. He insists, she apologizes, she says fuck off, and it's on. It's on.
Oh god, it's on like Duel.
Yeah. No, Dragon, this is a modern day Duel, and I think you'd really like it.
Really?
Yeah, no, legitimately. Russell Crowe, he does have a name in the movie. His name's Tom. But in the credits, he's just known as the man. And Dragon, I swear to God, he really is like one of those, like, obviously you do see his face and stuff. So it's, it's not like the truck itself is characterized in the same way that Duel is. But Dragon, it's very much the same sort of premise. It is very much just a lean, mean 90 minutes of road rage. There's very little exposition. There's very little setup. It's just, they get into a little altercation. Russell Crowe takes it way too fucking seriously. And then the rest of the movie is just this woman trying to get away from him.
Nice.
It's very, very, very economic in that regard. And I really liked it for that. It's not a masterpiece by any means. But I feel like it's the type of movie that's destined to become like a TNT classic.
Cool.
Yeah. So
All
I
right.
would give it I would give it a recommend, Dragon.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I
Let me
believe
hit
it's
you.
on Prime.
Oh, okay. I might look into that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay.
All
So
right.
let me hit you with my last one. The voices.
Ooh.
Okay, so the voices, and again, this is like the odd pattern of this month's catch up really at play here, where again things are either getting they're with oddly with the Ryan Reynolds movies, things are getting a little bit more indie and getting a little darker. Or again,
Okay.
it was more meditative with Paper Man. Now it was like a little bit more like kind of deflated with Paper Man. Now it's getting really dark again, kind of like that Daryl Hammond thing.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay, it's
Okay.
not triggering. Not triggering
I
though.
feel like the main thing I watched this month was True Detective, so this is very fitting for that.
Yeah, I want to be clear. It's not like triggering or anything like Daryl Hammond, but it's this thing plays more into our sensibilities. This one I would recommend to you
Okay.
for a few reasons. So this is again the Ryan Reynolds in basically an indie movie version of Bates Motel season 5, but crazier.
Ooh. Okay.
So that's what's interesting about this. So okay, so essentially, what we kind of learn in the movie is that Ryan Reynolds, he was as a kid, he was traumatized and emotionally abused by yeah, I forget if it was a stepfather or whatnot, but he was kind of emotionally abused. It's like a brief scene though. It's just basically getting yelled at by the guy, but it's really horrible what he says to him and everything. But he basically so Ryan Reynolds is wonderful in the performance here. He's really great. He just basically the movie is very much about insanity.
Uh huh.
Where he's it's a guy who seems like a nice, friendly guy. It's always like Ryan Reynolds playing that guy, like walking that tightrope.
Uh
Just like
huh. Uh huh.
it could snap, and just like with that big old smile on his face, where he's just a nice guy trying to adjust as like a factory worker at a bathtub company. Like he packs the bathtubs and everything. I think it's called Milton's or someplace. Anyway, so he's schizophrenic. He's schizophrenic, and this manifests itself in two things. One, he has like a daydream, almost polo vision from Deadpool POV, where it's like things are sunshine and rainbows, and things are going great. When he doesn't take his medication, everything's like all sunshine and rainbows, and he hears voices, hence the title. And those
Mm-hmm.
voices come from, and it's basically Ryan Reynolds doing these voices, but doing like different voices. His cat and his dog are like the angel and devil on his shoulder throughout the course of the movie. So you have Mr. Whiskers, who is the cat, and that's basically Ryan Reynolds doing like a tough IRA Irish thug, you know? It's like, what are you doing, Jerry? Sort of thing. And you have his dog, Bosco, who's like the friendly, affable giant dog who's like, you're a good boy, Jerry. It's and it's like that through the movie, and it's a very effectively made dark comedy with like a sobering undercurrent of reality of like, no, folks, we're watching this happen, and you want this guy not to make the decisions that he's making, and basically the big thing in the movie is it's the question of when is it too late to do the right thing. As in like how deep do you want to get and how deep is the line before you're completely irredeemable, but you mean well, and it's like a confluence of events. It's kind of that slippery slope of like this guy absolutely means well, but again, things are just you can see like how things are slipping into the gray, and then there's completely going off the rails, and like you're rooting for the guy, but he's completely off his rocker.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to highlight though, Anna Kendrick has a role in this film. We have some good. It's a very small indie movie. It's like like you
Mm-hmm.
can't like on like two hands maybe the amount of people are in the movie. So Anna Kendrick turns in a very solid performance. She's a bang up job in the role. It's a brief role, but it's a really good performance she does. The movie has a very gutsy and out there ending, but it's again, it was quite the experience watching it. It's crazy as all get out, but it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Right on. Sounds good.
All right. Okay. So I guess best and worst.
All right, best and worst. So best Dragon, I'm gonna go with Luca. Mostly just because again, culturally, I really, really respect that movie. I really respect how people have just like latched on and just embraced it. Of course, I really love how it's kind of like the poster child of Pixar LGBT. And yeah, I know the director didn't intend for it to be that way, but you know what, Dragon? I feel like the fact that the director didn't intend for it to be that way kind of makes it all the more beautiful that it did kind of pan out that way. It's kind of like an unintentional little miracle in that regard, because I do genuinely feel like LGBT people are going to attach themselves to this movie in much the same way that autistic people have attached themselves to Lilo and Stitch. And I think that's awesome.
Is that curious? Is that really like there's a lot of people who feel the same way about Lilo and Stitch? Is that really it's a big thing though?
I don't think it's as big as the Luca thing, but it's definitely there's definitely a community for it. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know about that. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's
cool. And then I would say worst dragon. Oh God. Oh boy, what would be my worst?
I mean, it sounds like maybe Queen Bees. You think, or
you know what? Queen Bees, yes, was. You know what? I'm gonna go something I don't usually do, and for honestly political reasons, because I just think this movie was super exploitive and just didn't need to be made and made me feel icky. I'm gonna go with Compliance Dragon. Like, some true stories just don't need to be immortalized on film, and I think this was one of them. I don't really think there was much of a point to show something like this in film. I don't think it was directed particularly well, and I just think it was just kind of like, hey, this is an interesting story, let's exploit it for profit. So yeah, I mean, Queen Bees is a nice enough matinee, it's not anything too great, but it's a nice enough matinee. It'll kill an afternoon. Compliance will fucking wreck your day. So yeah, I'm going with Compliance, actually.
All right, best and worst for me. Best is really tricky because there are three really good contenders for me. Because Luca is usually my go-to. Luca would be my go-to, but
for me, really quick, obviously, like the asterisks of the True Detective stuff that I watched was far and away the best stuff that I watched. Like that overshadowed everything else this month for me. All right, go ahead, Dragon. Sorry.
Well, I mean, speaking of the movies, though, I have like three contenders. Luca is usually my go-to, but I really love Batman Long Halloween Part 1. That really delivered. By the same token, Fatherhood was really impressive. I really liked Fatherhood that much. But you know what? I'm probably just to diversify. Again, obviously, I'd probably go Luca, but just for diversity's sake, I'm going to go with Batman Long Halloween Part 1.
Fair enough.
Okay, my worst, I want to be clear, this is not like an aggressive worst. It was just like by process of elimination, it's at the bottom of the totem pole. Because I really liked, honestly, my ketchup was pretty good. It was, again, kind of odd, kind of darkly themed in places, but it was good. I think de facto, it's probably Paperman because I wanted more Ryan Reynolds. It's not bad. It's not bad though. It's no
Dragon. Honestly, I think this is a pretty damn good month. If this is your worst,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's a pretty good batting average.
Yeah, I need to watch Kid 90 again, but it was a good. Between Kid 90 and Paperman, I'm going to say Paperman because I didn't get enough Ryan Reynolds. Okay, very petty reason, but there you go.
Dragon, there's a lot coming out this month. Did you know about all the Fear Street movies we're getting?
Wait, I know there's like a Fear Street series on Netflix.
Yeah, it's an R.L. Stine series.
Really? No, I didn't know anything about this. No.
Yeah, they're doing different Fear Street movies, one a week, and they're movies, not TV series.
Oh, okay.
But there's 3 different ones each different years, and they come out one a week on Netflix.
Crazy.
So I don't know. I'm probably not going to check it out, but if it gets hype, I'll get into it.
I'd like to watch it, but I don't have the constitution for it, so I won't.
Right. Okay. Obviously, Black Widow. I've got my tickets, Dragon. Thursday at 7:00, giant screen. I'm there.
Attaboy. Yeah,
Dragon, I think it's sad that July 16th, which is usually like the biggest release date of the year, we have Space Jam is like the big tentpole.
That's one that I'm definitely just going to watch from HBO Max at home.
Oh, yeah, same. I am looking forward to Escape Room Tournament of Champions, though.
The trailer looked really interesting on that.
Yeah, I thought Escape Room was a fun little movie, and that actually had Deborah Ann Woll in it. The first one.
Yeah.
And this one, it looks to be a pretty decent continuation. I'm digging the concept. And I gotta say, Dragon, as someone who's like, knee deep in the themed entertainment scene, I really need to start going to actual escape rooms because I feel like I'm missing out on the genre. But anyways, so let's see. So July 23rd, we have Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe, Origins. Probably a hard pass from me.
Me too.
But we have Old, which is I'm there, Dragon. You know I'm looking forward to this. This is the M. Night Shyamalan movie. This looks like classic Shyamalan. I'm stoked for this.
I'm interested to see how this turns out.
Because it's Shyamalan, I'm aware it could go very, very badly. I know, but you know, I'm holding out hope.
I mean, Tiki, it looks very on the money with the book that it's adapting. So I mean, it's man, we've seen how he's done with adaptations before. This one actually looks like it's really on the money.
Yeah. Then finally, we have a couple interesting ones on July 30th. We have Jungle Cruise finally coming out. It feels like this movie's been in development for, God, it probably has been in development for about 20 years, Dragon. It really, that might not be far off. And also, I didn't know that Jesse Plemons was in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the cast on IMDb.
Nice.
That actually makes me more excited. And Paul Giamatti? Oh, okay, I'm there. Okay, I'm more excited about this movie now. All right, and also The Green Knight, Dragon. Do you know anything about The Green Knight?
I heard something about this. I don't know.
It's not usually my kind of thing, but it's an A24 movie, and it's basically just a very realistic take on the medieval genre. Dev Patel is the main character. Joel Edgerton, Alicia Vikander. I don't know much about it, but I'm interested in it. Like, if it gets solid reviews, I'll definitely see it. So
two things. I'm gonna throw a couple at you, but we should get rid of the thing at the
okay.
bottom. Okay. So yeah, there's Tomorrow War, which already came out. So there's Tomorrow War. There's this action movie on Netflix that looks kind of interesting. It's called Gunpowder Milkshake. And the other big
Steven Soderbergh movie that just randomly popped up on HBO Max.
Yeah, it's called No Sudden Move with Don Cheadle. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that one out.
Really star-studded. I hear John Hamm's in it and everything's really star-studded. That's one I'm definitely going to be getting to for sure. Yeah.
All right. So is that about it?
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, folks, we've waxed on long enough. It's time to put the pen down. I don't know what that was. But don't worry. We'll be back again next time for even more
Movie Memoirs.